Welcome everybody to the setup session, or session 0, or session 0.5, or whatever we're going to consider this. But it's the setup episode to Rolling Until Ragnarok. Rolling Until Ragnarok, presented to you guys by Screwball Gaming, and as you can see, we have two people that are not live on screen. I'm never going to make everybody have to be on screen, but I'm glad that some of us can be on camera with the rest of us. But they are also going to be sharing a mic, so Thistle's screen will be the one that lights up even when Eli talks. This is, of course, just the setup to the campaign. We wanted to put it out for everybody to see so people can get an idea of the backstory for some of the characters and just get an idea of why they are setting off on their epic little adventure. We are in the realm of Omni, and this is a world that has been dedicated to animals and has never been touched by humans or humanoids or goblins, elves, or anything alike. But it is a very whimsical, fae-like world that parallels our dimension in that way. The way I like to describe it is that the world grew kind of like a goldfish that is outside of its fishbowl. So while we do have animals among the larger animals that have grown, we also have trees that have grown to be the size of like houses for these animals, and the world is just, the rules are just loose, and that's the way it is. We are going to be set in a great little sleepy town called Coldmeadow, and that is where we're going to pick up. So if everybody's ready, I'm going to go ahead and start. We're good? Everybody's good?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So it's it's not early morning, but it's just right after the early morning of our first day here in Coldmeadow. It's almost wintertime, but not just. It's kind of like the end of autumn. Because we're so close to the sea, there is the sea breeze that kind of pushes in the cold air. It was a pretty dry night as far as the rain goes, although it does rain fairly often here. Coldmeadow is nestled on right outside of this little point or brook or whatever you want to call it, on the beach. It's, some of its denizens live on the beach even. It's got there's families of squirrels and different birds and voles. Actually, the oldest person in the town is Somar, and she is just the town elder, and she's a little vole herself, and she tells stories all about the Moss Queen and the mother of all of the wonderful greenery around, and she just is just that vocal lady that loves all of her children, and everybody is a child to her, so she loves everybody. We've got the large but very wonderful family of doctors that our first introduction of Bramble is going to be part of. Bramble, it is super early in the morning, as far for you at least. This is after the time that like the fishers have already started. The two squirrel families are out there fishing. They've been out there for hours. Different farmers have done their stuff, but for an average person, it's still early in the morning. I would say 7, 8 a.m. Late for some, but definitely early for the rest of the world. Your household is like bustling at this point because there are some people that are getting up and having to do stuff. But at 8 a.m., where would you find yourself? What would you find yourself doing?
At 8 a.m., I would have absolutely no choice to be up, although she would prefer to turn over, right? Just because of the, all the new siblings. I'd have to be up helping get everybody ready with food and getting dressed and washed and all those wonderful things that you'd have to do as the third oldest of 37 other siblings. So the house would definitely be in the normal sort of chaos that, we're used to.
Very good. You kind of hear a bunch of like thumps, and you have like little footsteps running across different things. From outside, you'd probably hear some of your siblings already starting to play and do other stuff, and you know that as one of the oldest, you have to get up and start being the real part of the world, and maybe starting to get help getting breakfast ready, or even like just getting out and going to forage. I don't know whatever you want to say you do for your job even at that point, but I know that having a large family is a job of its own, and so you'd
Definitely.
be kind of on that approach as you push outside, or at least as you push the window open to look like outside, into just kind of oversee and make sure that everything's good. Let's see. I guess I'll let you be the first roll of the campaign. So
Oh yes.
you can either roll me nature or perception.
Let's definitely go with perception.
Okay.
All right, first roll.
First roll. Here we go.
12.
Not bad.
All right, we'll take it. Stop it. I thought it was a 1 at first, but it was a 7.
Yes, it is. I have to move my. Is that gonna have to stay up? If that doesn't stay up, that's gonna be horrible. Okay. All right, it's a 12. I see it now in
It's
the thing.
12.
I fixed the
Yay!
game log. We did things here. This is session 0. This is why we have this. Okay, on a 12 on perception, you push out. You're kind of still tired, like you said. You'd rather have rolled over.
Yeah.
You see a bunch of your siblings, the younger ones, all playing like freeze tag out front in the yard, in like the dirt. And when I say dirt, I mean like sand and everything else. This is the beach. This is a beach town.
That means I'm gonna have to wash them.
Yeah.
I mean, you get sand in your quills, but why can't they just play in the grass? No, that's worse. Maybe inside.
So you're watching all that happen, and you kind of notice it's on a 12 on perception. It seems like it's a really nice morning out. There's like some breeze. It's a little bit cold because that's that time of the year, but also you're in Coldmeadow is known for having to be very, very well off in the cold months. So everybody's ready for this. You're also a hedgehog, so good for you.
Got a little insulation.
Right. You feel the little, the little warmth on your cheeks from them kind of getting up, and you're watching your siblings play, and it's a very clear day out, is my point. If you were to look straight, you would be able to see the part where like it like the part of the town that falls off into the beach part of the town. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of overlooking this, like it's a nice view is the point. You can see the waves from where you're at.
It's where they stuck all of us because then we started multiplying, right? They were like, you guys need your own little like section to like hang off the cliff. So as you grow, you can just move closer and closer to the cliff, right? So you get like this, so many of you, right, in a certain area. That's what's going on. We know, like we had this conversation with the council of,
Awesome. That's perfect. As you're looking out, I think that realistically you would see, some of the people going to their thing. I think if anything, you'd see probably Thistle kind of making her way to her bookstore, because she's gonna be somebody who opens up her store on the kind of the same time every day. And Thistle, why don't you go ahead and give us what are your thoughts as you're walking in the very early morning to go to the bookstore, and maybe to get something on the way to eat, or whatever you would be doing on your way to work.
She probably would be just deep in thought. I would say she'd probably be a flashcards kind of person, just like going through her flashcards of different spells that she found from her midnight study sessions of learning different magics. Not really paying too much attention to where she's going, trying not to trip over people, but somehow she's got the steps, like the pattern down, so she knows exactly how to walk to avoid certain things as she's looking at her flashcards. But when she sees, Bramble and her family, she would try to do her best to greet everybody by name, call out all the siblings' different names.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're playing freeze tag. They got all little things going, but they're like behind their little area that. So but you're kind of like looking through. You're on your way down. So you're on your way down. Like you said, normally you have everything planned out. Everything, like your path is gone. You're kind of reading as you go. Why don't you go ahead and give me a dexterity save real quick? Very easy one. Doesn't have to be crazy.
It's a nat 20.
All right.
Zero.
Got it planned out.
First nat 20.
Thistle said we're starting the campaign right.
Right.
Exactly.
First nat 20 that came. So Thistle is walking and she's just reading, and she knows that she's coming up to where all these children are at all times. Like, there's just so many of you hedgehogs at this point. And so as she's walking up, most of them are playing freeze tag or whatever, like beating each other with sticks and calling it Power Rangers type of thing. But but some of them are like very meticulously practicing whatever sport this is that we're gonna not call baseball, but it is like stickball at this point. And one of them gets a real good and the little rock they're using as a ball just flies over, and Thistle just grabs it and goes, "Here you go," and throws it back. And on a nat 20, it doesn't even have to it doesn't
Nice
even
one,
stop
Xander.
Right.
You're getting better. Your technique's getting really good.
Very good.
Exactly.
He's like, "Oh, thanks."
Right.
Like,
I'll be like, "Zero."
I got some stickball books at the bookstore. If you ever want to stop by and pick them up, just let me know. I'll hold it for you.
She's like, I will like wave at the window and be like, "Sorry."
Totally fine. Hi, Bramble.
awesome. And then you make your way on this very clear afternoon or afternoon. Wow, this clear morning to your bookstore. I think on your way, waiting just at the bookstore already would probably be Meryl. And go ahead, guys. Let's greet each other the way you would greet each other pretty much every morning. This is a routine at this point.
Meryl, yes. And I just flip the sign over. Come in, and I usher the door open so she can come in.
Thank you so much. This is so exciting. I was spending the morning with squirrels and fishing, and I have some very fun fishing stories to share. But after I look through your new selection,
Okay,
and she
absolutely.
just darts in.
Yep, that. Yep, have fun with that.
Thanks, Thistle.
There's like already a pile of books like on a table that Meryl had left there the day before.
I have a special designated cart for everything that Meryl takes off, so I just know, okay, this is everything that she's been borrowing, so I'll put that back in that separate section.
She like accidentally has made a little nest at one of the tables, so there's like a secret nut supply. There, it's like those are my snacking nuts.
Nice.
And then these are not to be confused with the study nuts that are in a different
Those
section.
are different.
Those are very different. The tavern nuts, very, very different. So she would just be, and as she's like looking through books, I think that Meryl would be telling Thistle about the fish that she saw as she was with the squirrels this morning at like 5 a.m. because she is the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah, ball.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like Thistle would like mage hand, like grab her little book down on fish. She'd be like, okay, we need to add that in. Summon her magic quill. Let me add this into this section here because this is important. We need to make sure we notate all of it.
Yes, it's very, very important. So they used different lures this morning. Before, they had blue feathers, but this time they had orange feathers.
Okay.
And then they caught double the amount of fish.
Double. Okay, got it.
Awesome. I guess that's a good segue into talking about our squirrel families. Which I wrote in this book. Right? Sorry. Okay, so both the squirrel families are the fishers of this area. They're very well known too for being like very exceptional fishers. There's Oaksail and Seawash, and the Seawash family has less children than the Oaksail family. Just for fun, I'll let you choose which family you have gone fishing with for the day.
Well, she likes both families, but she will go with the Seawash ones today.
Okay, so Seawash specifically has the father's name is Gustavo, and the mother's name is Beryl, which is great. And the 4 kids are Lilac, Han, Tom Tom, and Sansan. And the kids do not go fishing normally, although I think that Tom would like try since he's the oldest often. And Gustavo would probably take him on shorter events. But Beryl is also like a cook because I'm taking stuff from YouTube. And and yeah, shout out. But anyway, and she's like a cook of the town, and she also like whenever the town has like the big like little like town dinner, she's normally the one that cooks a lot of it, and it's just a whole big thing, and everybody knows her very well, and she's fairly outgoing as far as that goes. And I would say that probably all of the children are known as like little shits, because that's just children in a nutshell for you. But that being said, I would think that Han is probably the most like he's not the oldest, but he's like the most mature, if you get what I mean. Like where Tom is the most is the oldest and supposed to be the most mature, he's also like the typical oldest sibling that's like, I don't want to do anything. Whereas like Han is like, I am the most mature and I take care of this house when my father isn't here. But I think that like Han and Bramble would like get along on that idea where she's probably the most mature but not the oldest.
Like, you get an option not to help.
Right. Right. So, great. So you guys are down there, you're telling her all about like the stuff that Gustavo taught you for the day, because he's pretty outgoing for the old squirrel that he is. And also, you know, he always likes to have help on his fishing expeditions, especially right now where it's like right before the winter months. It's a lot. You guys were out, and one of the things that you did notice today is that it was a lot harder to get back because there wasn't as many waves as normal. It was a very like flat day. And which means that there was a lot more rowing involved than normal. And that kind of sucks for some people, but for you, I don't know, because you, like you said, you're the Energizer Bunny, and you might have just had a ball doing it for all I know.
Yeah, what a great question, because her attitude about it would be great. Is she strong? In her mind, she is. Her actual strength is carrying 4 books at a time, and then she kind of needs to sit down. So she tried to help and probably wasn't as helpful, so she just kind of provided the sea shanties that she has learned from books.
Oh, fantastic. Awesome.
Could I roll for if I was able to kind of tell why there was less waves, or if there was something weird going on the water?
Sure, roll nature.
Okay. It's a 21.
It's pretty good. So this time of the year, they're supposed to be like really good. Like they normally tell people don't go playing in the water. Although most people don't go in the water at this time of the year because, come on, it's cold. But this is when like normally the undertows really are able to pull something out. Like it's normally there's a lot more waves, and which is why generally, you know, Gustavo goes by himself or takes his, you know, son. Like I said, very good fisher, but not a big help, not a lot of help around him, which is why you are normally with him when you are, because having somebody else to be able to pull in the fish and do all these little things, and also you're just, Gustavo has kids and you're not annoying to him, so he's, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's great
Like,
company.
You're
Great
the kid
company.
he's always wishes he had. Like,
I feel like Meryl would make a point where if she's in the store, she would kind of stop and look at Thistle and be like, there was this weird thing.
Great.
There wasn't any waves.
Hmm.
It took so long to get back. It was fun, but it was long.
You would, so on a 21, you would notice that it was a lot flatter than normal, and like I said, there are no waves. Like, and if there are waves, they're very shallow. It's more like what you would imagine in like a pond or like a lake than the ocean. Like, you guys were fishing on the ocean, and there was no tide even. Like, it was becoming very even, and although it strikes you as super weird enough that you'd make the note of it to Thistle, it's not something that would strike, you wouldn't know why yet.
Yeah. I mean, if something weird happens, she's gonna tell Thistle about it at the beginning of the day.
Right. And I feel like, could I try to like roll history to see if maybe I could find a book that might mention something about that weather-wise in my store?
Weather books. Sure. Yeah, history. Go ahead. History seems reasonable.
That's a 19.
Everybody's rolling really high. This is fun. Yeah, so you have a couple books that talk about like different weather stuff in the past, and then you have like the encyclopedia book that's like, this is how weather works. But like some of like notation stuff is like, they talk about like how tsunamis look when like the whole thing like comes all the way out, and like if you can see the whole beach, then all the water goes away. You should run. Like really simple, silly stuff. But there's not a lot of talk about what happens when the sea goes flat. Normally, that's like really when you're really far out to sea and there's not a lot of weather. So like it's a flat day and like there's no breeze. But what's interesting about all this is that there is a nice breeze out today. On a 19, you would get that there is like, there's still like a breeze. There's still like wind but the ocean is still flat. And although you didn't notice it walking out here, Thistle, because again, you're reading your cards and
Yep.
you also were dealing with the children hitting rocks at you.
Right.
But you would find that like you would be like, well, when it's further out to sea, you would read about that type of stuff. But you would make a note of it, and both of you now have the note of it. Same thing with Bramble. So let's go to Eli. You are more of a late night animal, having to run a tavern. What does your early mornings look like?
8 a.m. I'm imagining that Eli this is probably still a late night for him. He's probably still up after running the night shift, being there all night, making sure that the sailors that went out first thing in the morning had their flasks filled, getting all the stuff ready for the morning shift, that all of the other employees that are here with him can handle the day-to-day for the regular villagers that are going to come and go during the slower part of the day. Being a tavern, like you said, we're a lot busier and rowdier at night, which is when I would typically be there. But I do pop in during the day after I get a nap, so I'm probably getting ready to rest at this point. All the fishers have been out and come back in. At this point, I'm just waiting to hear what information or news I could pick up from anybody that's been out in the water. Because most of the sailors would know me, seeing as I'm a former sailor. So he's just like, how's everything out on the water today? Getting everyone their drinks, getting everyone warmed up as they come back in.
Okay.
And then probably prepared to head off to bed myself, or at least to catch a nap.
So then around this time, a little bit later than what was going on with them, so we'll say the 9 o'clock, like right before you'd leave, you'd see Garvey and Joe, that is the father and uncle from the oak sale squirrels. Garvey is like he's like the, like when you talk about like the old like sailor, and you have like the like very typical like if he had a peg leg, this would be Garvey. Like he'd have the peg leg, and he would be the one that's like, it's like, I'm telling you, the sea is dangerous, and you gotta do like he's that old sailor that's like.
So he comes in the door grouchy like that, and I'm just like, I'm already pouring him a drink. Right.
And Joe, who is his brother-in-law, is a brighter looking, much like if a squirrel could have baby fat, this is this squirrel. He's like the like chubbier, like I'm just a happy helper, like, and like they get along, but only because like Joe is such a good fisher and such a hard worker that Garvey like puts up with him. But it's very much like this, like, God, I hate fucking people, like like I hate other squirrels, like, but Garvey's like, but he's such a great worker and I have to commend him for that. And also, like, you know, he's his brother-in-law, so and Joe is like, so Joe kind of comes in, and Joe's full name is Josephine, just so you know. And he hates his full name, but every once in a while Garvey gets mad at him and says it, and that's how everybody knows what his full name is. But Joe is like, hi, today, could I have something bubbly?
Sure thing, Jojo. And I'm gonna get him the closest equivalent to a soda pop.
Awesome. And he's like, oh, it's so nice. We are so tired. Let me tell you. He smacks the table real hard. He's like, we had to row. And then Garvey's like, I had to row. You were doing something else. And he's like, Garvey had to row while I tied things to the deck? Oh my lord, it was wild.
Garvey, what is he talking about?
And then, so he keeps talking in the background, literally to himself, about...
Right, I imagine this is a regular thing. Garvey and I have mastered the art of tuning him out.
Yes, exactly. And Garvey is gonna, like, drink his very hard, whatever kind of cider you handed him. And he's gonna be like, I don't know, there was just no... There was no waves, so we had to row all the way in, but we rowed really far out to begin with. And it took me an extra... I'm here late. I'm late today because it took me an extra 45 minutes just to get us back to where we could use the wind to get home.
Why'd you go out that far if there's no wind? I honestly thought your old self got lost out there this morning.
He's gonna like
all the while
stretch,
pouring him another drink. And
as Garvey stretches, you can hear all of his little bones pop. Like they're like, but it sounds like somebody messing with like tinfoil at this point. It's like, and he's like, that's where the good fish are. And when does it not pick up? The tide should have come in. And I had to listen to this, and you just hear him, and the fish were so nice, and I would have tied them down. We got 5 big fish this time, and he's still talking. He's like, and I had to listen to that the whole time. And every time I asked him to help row, he said, yes, I can help row. And then, but that's Garvey attempting to do his voice, and it just sounds like sheet metal rapping against each other. And then as he does it, Joe is gonna look over and be like, that was pretty good that time, yes? And Garvey's gonna give him like that one side eye, and then he's just gonna put his head down on the table and be like, thanks for the drink, and like hand you some like 4 or 5 silver extra than what it should be.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and sit an extra cup down beside him and just like, you work on this after you rest some. Joe, how about you go help, why don't you go help Lila in the kitchen and see if she needs your help with anything?
I'd be happy to help. I'm a pretty good cook, you know, as he like walks over with like, you know, does a little thing. You know he's not a good cook, but he thinks he is. He's good at cooking a lot really fast, but doesn't taste very good.
Yeah, I'm assuming I'm gonna hear about this later, but I figure I'd give this man a break.
Very good. He walks through the flapping doors by like pushing through with his little tummy, and he's like, Lila, I'm here to help you today. Aren't you super excited? I'm super excited. I haven't seen you in 3 or 4 days. It's wonderful. And you just hear, ah, from the back.
As she makes that sound, I'm just gonna yell back over my shoulder, "Thank you."
No problem, Eli. So, Joe, hard day at sea today, huh? See, yeah, it was great. It was a great day for me. I don't know, there's a lot of rowing that I had to do. And just the door closes.
So,
This is, at this time, you'd see some of the other people start to, like, come in, the regulars that the rest of your people take care of pretty easily. This is kind of like normally when you would leave to either go home or go do whatever your like early like your morning routine is before you, I guess, try and get some shut-eye for the day, because
right. I mean, since it's a tavern, I have a few small rooms available for if anyone gets too drunk or like a visitor's coming into town. Since I'm right down by the docks, not right on the water, but probably the first thing you get through coming off the docks.
Right.
So I probably just find my way to an empty room upstairs and try to conk out for a little bit.
Awesome. So you're gonna use one of those rooms, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave Garvey with the extra drink, and everyone that works there would know that he's pretty much just got an ongoing open tab. He just gets drinks while he's there, as long as he's not breaking shit.
Yeah. Yeah, Garvey's not really a drunk. He's more of just he's just a hard worker, that he's old and he just wants to be left alone for the day.
I imagine that Garvey's the one that I probably would have been on his boat back when I was a sailor, which is why I'm just used to all of his shit and dealing with Joe.
That makes complete sense. Awesome. So you go up to one of your normal rooms. You start to do the thing where you make it dark for yourself.
Every window and shutter is closed. Every room in the Salisbury Tavern comes with blackout curtains.
So as you get to the last shutter to close and black out, roll perception for me.
Okay. That is a 7.
Cool. It's a really, really clear, beautiful day out. And you said there was a breeze, so yep.
I go to close the window. I see there a breeze. I'm like, Garvey must just be out of it today. I don't know why he said there's no wind. The wind is here, so I'm just gonna go to bed. I'm not thinking much of it.
Awesome.
He's in a bad mood as always.
Slam it shut. Throw the thing down. You curl
Throw the
up.
shade. Go to sleep.
Awesome. The day goes on. Kids go to their little daycare-esque things. I guess maybe. I don't really know what all the kids do in this little town, but just whatever little towns do with their children throughout the day that isn't like a school thing, but it is school, if you get what I mean, from back in the day. The day just works itself out as normal. It's a great, like I said, it's a beautiful day out. There's whatever. It gets to be about mid-afternoon, and this is when normally the foragers come back in, or even some of the there's one really large plotted farm off to the south, and they normally grow corn and maybe some kind of root vegetables, and they normally grow that, and that's one of the other reasons you Coldmeadow is known for having a lot of stuff during the winter seasons, because these are things that come up in the autumn, and you can like, you know, pull it all in, and then it keeps really well. Root vegetables, corn, squash, stuff like that. Like, you know, it stays good for a long time. Pumpkins. But this is normally when those workers, when those people would come into town, they would, you know, visit their people. Meryl, I'm assuming that you're probably still at the bookstore doing your thing. This is normally when actually there is a small like fennec fox and what is the thing called? A regular badger, not a honey badger, but like one of the badgers that have like the black like the lines, and they come through, and what they specifically sell is coffee. And they have like little coffee things, and they make like little lattes, and they have like their little cart that they like push around, and they're like very, very happy to do this. And then what they do is they come through the town every day, but then every third week of the month they're up in the main port town for the whole week. So they hear all the stories there, and you love talking to the Fennec Fox because he has stories, but also like he embellishes them for you. And and like, because like, yeah, they sell coffee and there's only so much that he knows, but he knows that you like stories, so he thinks of the way to embellish them. His name is Pete. He is actually a pretty normal fucking dude, but he thinks that you are just the funniest thing ever. So but also he sells coffee, and you buy a lot of coffee. So they like push their way in, and the larger badger, which is named Esora, or E for short. They just call her E. And she's like, she comes in, she's like, "Hey, Thistle," and like kind of looks around because she doesn't see you as she like pushes in the door, but wants you to know that they're there.
Oh, hi guys, welcome. Come on in. So good to see you.
Yeah. Is there a lot of people? And then like a couple of the customers like kind of like follow them in. This is a great time of day for you because people follow their cart into your thing, into your bookstore.
Oh yeah.
So people that are like waiting in line to get coffee also see books, and then they're like, "Well, I want this book too."
Yeah, she would just make sure she has like the bestsellers out on the little table out front that people can see as they walk in.
Right. Right.
I feel like Meryl would around from the back of the store that she's migrated to.
Yeah.
She goes, "Oh, E and Peter here!" And then runs to the front of the store.
Like float on the aroma of coffee, like the cartoons. Just...
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yes. 100%. It just fills her nose and her cheeks get real big, and she goes, "Oh, it's that time."
the little thing is brewing already. You hear like and you see like all the stuff coming up, and Pete is like, "Oh, yes, hi. Meryl. Oh, Meryl." And he looks over at E, and he goes, "Who was it? Who was it?" And like and E's like, "Stop, I don't remember names, you know that." E talks a lot slower than Pete and you because E is also a Goliath compared to you guys. You met the head of the port. Stops and like kind of looks at him and goes, "We met a lot of people last week." This would get exciting to you because now they met a lot of people, so there should be a lot of stories, but really it was just them selling coffee. And Pete is like, "We did, you're right. Meryl, what kind of coffee would you like today?" And he starts like going to pour.
Ooh, what time of year are we in?
Yep. It's late autumn. Go ahead.
Well, because it's the season, can I please get something with pumpkin?
Yes. Okay. So the thing about it is we do have some, but it costs. So normally it's not this expensive, but we don't have a lot because when you talk to the farmers, you're gonna realize there's a big shortage on their crops this year. So we don't have as much pumpkin spice as normal, but I do have a little bit right here. And he pulls out the little bag, and it's like a very little bit.
Oh, well, that's so surprising. I thought that the farmers, last time that you talked to them, said it seemed like it was going to be a good harvest.
We thought so too.
That's
one
weird.
second.
Thistle, can we mark that down as being weird? Second weird thing
I'm already
today.
way ahead of you. Got my book
Thank
out,
you.
making notes. Make sure you ask a lot of questions so we can get good information on their stories this time.
Okay.
Are you hungry?
So, yes, but pumpkin spice and everything nice.
You eat it, and I'll make something else in a little bit. All right. Sorry. Pete goes, yeah, I don't really know, man. Like they just didn't have a good harvest. I'm sure they'll tell you about it. And then you hear one of them in the back of the line speak up and go, good harvest. We harvested 2 pumpkins out of how much we normally harvest, which is a ton. And we have almost no corn. We don't know what's going on at all. Nothing has bloomed. And if it doesn't in the next month or so, we're going to have a really big problem.
It's not blooming at all? This is very... Is it the soil? Is it the rain? Is it... What's different this year?
You haven't noticed? There's no clouds in the sky.
Man, I thought that was weird this morning, but there was like a small breeze.
That's great. There's still no clouds. And if there's no clouds, then there's no rain.
Huh. Why is this year different? This is weird. It's very weird. Is there any crop that's growing?
None of ours. And then you hear the lines start to all speak up because these are a lot of the farmers, and most of them are like, no, not ours either. We haven't. Like there's only like really, like I said, there's only like really 2 farm families, and they're all kind of now realizing together that none of them are really coming.
Nothing.
And then E would lean down and go, you know, that was why we met the port person. They were saying that, and then Pete would immediately be like, "That's right, that story. Yep." And he finished pouring your coffee and like hand you the coffee in like this little like very flimsy to-go cup that has like this top on that barely fits, and I don't know why they have them, and neither does he. But and he's like, yeah, they were saying that they're really looking forward to us showing up this year because none of the families from up north had any had a good pull this year for crops. So Coldmeadow, everybody's really looking forward to seeing you guys next month. That's
Wait, up north
really
is having
good,
the same
right?
problem?
Huh? Oh, yes. He just like shakes his head.
Okay. So here's what we know. We know that everyone's having issues with crops. And then the fishing today was so weird. This is
definitely not normal.
This is not normal. You know who might have some information on this? If weird about nature, who's been around for a really long time? Meryl would take her coffee to go and tell Thistle she would be right back. And she's gonna go talk to Somar. And she would make sure to leave a big tip. She always tips very well for E and Pete.
Completely understands, and he's so happy, and he's like, great. And then he takes a little bit of the tip, and then he actually pays Thistle for whatever books you've stolen / borrowed.
I'll just add that onto her tab, and I'll just make a note of that. Thanks.
She will bring it back. She brings books back.
Right.
She's written them.
I have a special list of where she can borrow things if she just makes sure to remember what titles.
But that's the point. They all know what's happening. They all have known you for your whole life since you washed up on shore. And Pete and Thistle just have this all worked out to where it all works together.
We've got a
She walks out like this, and she goes, oh, I'll bring it back. I swear.
I know you will.
I just gotta go talk. Just gotta talk to Somar. I'll be right back. But I hope that I'm gonna get some good information. Do we already know the name of the head of the port?
Name of what?
The head of the port that you were just mentioning that Pete has talked to? Is that prior information?
It changes pretty often. So Pete would have said that right now it's Ronson.
Ronson. Okay. I'm starting my note taking early.
Which since I said that, I guess I'll make a note of it.
So after hearing about the bad crops for both families, and the North is also bad, and they're expecting our crops to be good, immediately she would go to think of like, Somar's got to have a story as to if this has ever happened before. If we couldn't find it in the books with Thistle and I,
yeah, then definitely she would be the one.
Very good. Bramble, this is about the time that you are in the middle of town, so I think you two would kind of bump into each other, if not have her just completely run into you. I don't know how I don't really know what Meryl does as far as like not running into people. I'd imagine she's very dexterous though, or at least
yes, she is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or at least agile enough to be like, I'm everywhere, because that's both
actually.
That's a very chipmunky. That's a very chipmunky thing in my head. So, but Bramble,
so Bramble, would probably, after getting all the siblings ready, would probably be on the way to open up the acupuncture shop for the day. That way all her parents can, bustle all the kids off to school or the forest or wherever they're going for the day. So I guess, I'm passing through the middle of town, and I still want to call you Alex. That's creepy. And I see Meryl, thank you. Like in the middle, just walking with a handful of books and coffee, and I'll be like, "Dang, she's taking more books." And is what I'll think, but I'll be like, "Hey, Meryl, more books."
Bramble. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I this morning went fishing, and I saw there were like no waves, and I had to row a lot, so I'm in it really short. And then there.
Like
yeah,
you're
really sore.
Really sore. You should stop by the shop. I'll poke you later.
Okay, definitely. I will look forward to you poking me later.
Cool.
So it was really, really weird. And then I went to the bookstore and talked to Thistle, and we looked through, and it's very weird for this time of year. And then all of a sudden the coffee cart came through, and then all the farmers were there, and they said they don't have any crops. They have barely any crops, and apparently the port town's saying the same thing, and they're saying the same thing. So I'm gonna go talk to Somar. Do you want to come with me?
Ooh. Bramble's getting like flashbacks of some of her younger siblings. Like,
That being said, what you would have noticed how weird the day was, and it is a thought that you would have, is that there is something going on. Also, while you were making breakfast this morning, you would realize that there are a lot less grains than normal for you to cook up.
She's still getting like little sibling vibes. Oh, okay, Meryl. I've got a few minutes, but I need to go get the shop open. So, this can't take too long.
Totally understand. Somar is really succinct with her story. So we should go talk to her. She knows everything. So she would amongst books and coffee, so she's sipping the coffee, she would be like, okay, let's go, in some third hand that she has.
As a side note, how much coffee have you had today?
I mean, this is my first cup.
Oh, okay.
Listen, there are only so many hours to get things done. We gotta use them the best we have them.
Awesome. Wonderful. The So Somar's residence, the Vol residence, is very. It's further from the beach, but also like pretty close to where y'all are anyway. You go down the little road. There's a bunch of flowers, and it's it's very green.
Great to get people as you pass by. Yeah.
Yep. It's very green. A bunch of the voles are like sleeping amongst like the inside or like in the shade, except for Somar, who is sitting in her little chair on the porch right outside in the sunlight. She can't see nothing because they're blind in the sunlight, but she's just old lady blind anyway, and she's sitting there just making little origami frogs. Why not? And cranes and other little things. But like as she makes them, she unfolds them, puts the paper down to the side, and then does it again. Like to a different piece of paper, so all the creases are in the paper to the side, and there's just like a stack. And it's like, why? But this is what she's doing. And as you guys approach, you hear Meryl's like all the little thing, and then she's like, "Oh, Meryl, it's so good to hear you. How are you this morning? Is it morning? What time of day is it?"
Lady Somar, we're here. I'm here with Bramble. It's about midday, so you were close.
Yes.
So I have some questions. I was really hoping, in your infinite wisdom, that you would know a story you can tell me about what's happening with everyone's crops.
Bramble, it's nice to see you. I'm so glad you're here. I haven't talked to any of you hedgehogs in a long time. I have some great stories. Well, let me think. And then you'd have to interrupt her before she just starts telling stories.
Pretty sure one of my siblings ran into you yesterday.
Well, I wouldn't know.
Lady Somar, so this morning there was no wind, and while we were out fishing this morning, and it was a really calm day for not this time of year, and everyone's crops are not blooming. Nothing is growing. They had like 2 pumpkins.
There has
So
been
weird.
a bit of a shortage in grain lately that I've noticed.
And the North has experienced the same thing too. The town apparently thinks we're doing great. That's not good. So has this ever happened to the town before?
Somar kind of like rocks a little bit, and she thinks, and she's like, "Did you guys go too far out on the ocean for there not to be any wind, or?"
Well, we do go pretty far out, but it's normally there's normally wind. It wasn't too far. It was far, but.
And she like thinks, and she's like, well, we haven't had a bad harvest in a long time. I can't imagine. And then she's gonna like stand up and like walk to where the grass is, and get her little vole toes in the grass, and then she'll like look straight up, like almost like she's looking at the sun, and which is like the worst thing ever, because first of all, you're not supposed to do that regularly, but voles can't see anything, so like they're blind. and you're like, you'd be like, "Ooh, no, wait, don't do this."
Really, Brent would be like, "Man, like she's standing up real straight. My mom did a great job."
Be like, "Lady Somar, there's no clouds."
As you do that, she'd look and go, there are no clouds right now.
Yeah, there are no clouds.
A long time ago, here we go. A long time ago, there used to be, so I think it's still there. There's a mountain beyond the woods. There's a giant mountain range beyond the woods, and there's one large mountain beyond the woods. I just want to let you know, like, this is her saying there used to be, but it's only because she can't see anymore. And she's like, there used to be this giant mountain, and we used to have a lot, well, not us, but Madison used to have a great many adventurers that would come through it, and everybody always wanted to climb the mountain because the mountain's very tall, and you also have to go through the deep woods and the gray bark forest, and the gray bark forest has a lot of really scary things in it, and they used to go and they used to fight the monsters and bring back heads and do all the thing, and they were great adventurers. And then one time it was said that a giant monster swallowed all the clouds up, and he lived on top of the mountain. And that, I think, was the last time we had a really bad. We had to hire adventurers to go and slay the giant monster, because if you swallow all the clouds up, then there's no rain, and then nothing can grow. Also, if there's no clouds, there's very little waves. I think that's how it works. She starts laughing.
Okay. So, giant monster swallowed the clouds. Got
I
it.
supposed
So-
to actually believe that there was a giant monster that swallowed the clouds, or is this like a metaphor for, something that, you told, or other weary travelers or whatnot told stories of, a giant monster that eats clouds? Can't think of anything that eats clouds. They're
Well-
hardly nutritious.
Well,
Me neither. But I feel like everything's a metaphor for something, but either way, if the clouds are gone, maybe you should go look for that giant monster.
Do you know if any of the adventurers are still around?
I think that you'd have to ask people in Madison. Nobody still lives here. The oldest person in our town, other than me, would probably be... I guess that squirrel. Garvey. Little oak sail. Either him or... Oh... Yeah, he's probably the other oldest. He was there. He was around for that. That was a long time ago, though.
Okay. So, I gotta go talk to Garvey. Gotta figure out if he knows any of the adventurers. And if I know Garvey, he's at Elias's Tavern.
Yeah, I was about to say, wait, what time is it? Yeah. He's definitely at the tavern.
Awesome. For the second half of session 0. So you guys just learned that, and Meryl is on a mission with Bramble to go talk to Garvey, but we're gonna swing over to Eli, who, it's mid-afternoon, man. I think you'd just be starting to wake up and get your little routine on. You slept at your tavern, so you come down the stairs. What's normally the first thing you do as you kind of like come downstairs to check on everything?
If today was the day that the coffee had gotten there, I would definitely immediately fix a cup of coffee.
Awesome. Yes, this is the day of new coffee for your tavern. It lasts generally the coffee lasts like 4 out of the 7 days of the week for you, because normally you can't really ever buy enough of the coffee, and I think that Pete probably does that on purpose, so that people are like really wanting the coffee.
Before I'm even completely down the stairs, a cup just starts floating to me. I've cast Mage Hand and it's invisible, but you just see a cup of coffee floating across, meeting me at the bottom of the stairs.
Fantastic. Yeah, you've gotten this down pat. I think that and everybody knows not to touch the floating coffee, because if you do, then you get kicked out of the tavern for X amount of time, depending on how annoyed you are that morning. or afternoon.
I can thank my older brother for that one.
Right. You come downstairs and who works behind the bar slash like as a greeter for everybody during the daytime there?
Lila is the one in the kitchen.
Right.
So it'd be Sophie as the main like hostess, the one that like invites everyone in. She's like my day shift manager.
Okay. So Sophie is there, and it's a pretty boring afternoon. She's like fixing up kind of like the front stuff, and she sees your coffee go by, and she goes, she'd be like, oh, great, you're up. Eli, sorry, children. Eli,
Children, is Xander in here again? I told him he's not allowed in here.
No, nobody. Actually, like nobody's in here. Even Joe left early, which might have been or might not have been because of Lila. I'm not really sure, but he seemed pretty happy, like he always was. So I just let it go.
Did anything break?
When? Today?
Since I sent Joe in the kitchen this morning.
Oh, probably. But I'm
anything more than usual?
Not at all.
Oh. Okay, well then he's just gonna sit down and drink his coffee.
Right. So this would be about the same time that Meryl and Bramble would kind of come in. I guess, unless Bramble, did you leave Meryl to go to open your shop, or are you still with her?
No, I'm still with her. Like, this is suddenly intriguing, and Bramble's got to feed her family, so I need to know why the grain.
Very good.
Why there's less grain.
So this would be when you all burst in, or come in normally. I don't know how you all enter rooms.
Burst in.
Yeah.
Before you get through it all, I will say Garvey is not there. So
okay, well,
go ahead.
They would have figured that he was there,
of
though,
course.
still. So every time that Meryl enters Elias's tavern, she likes using prestidigitation to come up with some new way to enter. So this time, it's 2 spotlights
Very good.
that are on, because it's Bramble's coming with me and making a grand entrance.
Right.
So Bramble, again, even though she's young, she has to be mature. So she's going to look around at this light and be like, so childish. You couldn't just open the door.
Oh, you like this. It's way more fun. Eli! We have questions!
Of course
And
you
come
do.
sauntering
Good
in.
morning. I'm sitting there with a cup of coffee up to my lips. Haven't even got the first sip yet.
Okay, well, first we were looking for Garvey, but it doesn't look like he's here.
Sophie
Which is
will
weird.
speak up and say, Garvey left just a little bit ago. He said that he was going to get to your place, Bramble, because his back was so out of whack from all the rowing he had to do that Joe didn't help with, that he did help with, that Joe says he helped with, that Joe helped him over there to help with.
Okay, Sophie, we get
Oh
it.
no, I didn't open
Everyone
up
knows
the
Joe.
shop.
Do you want to go open up the shop and meet him, and I'll follow you?
Nah, I
We have
think
to-
Dad should have gotten it.
We gotta ask him. We had learned important information from Lady Somar. Elias, you're so smart. Have you noticed anything weird happening? The crops aren't growing. There's no clouds in the sky. I also had to row this morning.
Well, my tavern is empty, and there are 2 small people yelling. So that's not weird. That's pretty normal. Nope, it's been a pretty normal day.
But who are you counting as small? I have a big personality. Thank you very much.
Oh.
The biggest.
Good.
And I'm gonna be like, Sophie, can you get them taken care of? And just like, Sophie's gonna bring you drinks.
Perfect.
Great.
She would also be like, Elias, you've been out to sea a lot. Were you around when apparently monster-eaten clouds was up in the mountain by Madison?
Eli, roll history.
There are no, big monsters that eat clouds. I'll take mine in a flask if you don't mind.
Sophie's like, great. As that's happening, she grabs a little to-go cup from Meryl. This is very normal, and she refills it with coffee, but spikes the coffee with water so that it's like half and half. But like Meryl doesn't really notice because it's very strong coffee. And
Yes.
but everybody is doing this to help Meryl just stay pepper, but maybe not like too much. And
Right.
because
That is a
Right.
nat 1 on history.
nat one on
So
history.
as far as I'm aware, you gotta stop listening to the elder. She's very wise, but
you'd be like, look, like as far as you know, Garvey tells tons of sea stories, and they're all the same as that old lady telling stories.
Exactly. I'm telling you, Meryl, there's no monster that eats clouds. And
There are lots of things that happen in books. They could happen here. They had to happen in the books to happen here.
well, that's because the books aren't real. Of course they can have monsters that eat clouds in your books. Now, if you really want to actually read something that's helpful to people, I recommend the book of what's the name of that book? It maps out the body and the nerves and things like that. That is actually a book that is helpful, not one that you found that eats clouds or something. I'm gonna need you to grow up and act mature for once.
I had no idea where that book thing was about to go.
I didn't know.
I read nonfiction too. You have to read a variety of genres to be well versed. And I read them all.
if I can tell you the two of you anything, there are a lot of wild stories out there. You can't trust everything you hear. But typically, as absurd as things can be, everything is based with some kernel of truth. So while I don't think there's a cloud-eating monster out there, there's probably something big that flew over and scared somebody. There's probably a logical explanation, so you can both be right.
Well, there has to be a reason why there's no clouds. Exactly. I would like to go find the explanation. Now, our explanation is a cloud-eating monster. Until we're presented with a different solution, a different answer to the problem. Right now, it's a cloud-eating monster.
So Eli, her saying that there are no clouds, that would strike you as a truth currently.
Right. But I would know Garvey just had a hard day out. As far as I know, the wind was blowing when I woke up this morning, and I haven't been out in the water, so I can't. No one's told me about the sea specifically outside of Garvey, but again, his stories can be just as far-fetched when he's angry and tired, so I wouldn't have thought anything of it.
Well, I was with the other family this morning. It was the same for us. Isn't it weird that it's kind of breezy, but it was hard to row? That's not like this time of year.
What was your catch like? Did you guys pull anything? If the tides are off, the fish would have been off as well.
Well, the tide isn't off. That's the weird thing. We still did really well. It was just hard to get back.
And still not seeing the big deal.
When you expect there to be waves and wind to bring you back after not so far, when it normally is like this, it's just rude for it not to show up. I would like the clouds to come back.
How many cups of coffee are you at now?
Sophie is going
This
to...
is 2.
Sophie's going to hand her second cup of coffee and hand you
This
your
is
flask.
2.
And then Sophie will say, earlier, that the what's his name? Gustav was in here too, and he was saying that that it is really weird that that there hasn't been any rain for a long time. And now that I think about it, I don't think it's rained in the past 2 or 3 weeks. And if you'd like to, and if anybody else would like to roll nature, I will tell you how long it has been since it's rained.
I will roll nature, because that'll be something that sticks out to Eli. He's used to the hustle and bustle, so he probably hasn't paid too much attention. But if someone pointed it out, that would be something he would take notice of.
Good. Roll nature.
I feel like Brand will be too self-absorbed in the family to notice.
That's a 16 for
16's
nature.
pretty good. 16's pretty good. The last time you remember it raining, it was a warm rain, which means that it was probably the summer, which might have been even 2 months ago. And so it would kind of settle into you. It would settle in on you that like, and you might feel it in the pit of your stomach for just a moment where you're like, wait, it's been the winter. It's almost the winter. It's been the fall for almost 2 months now, and you don't remember any rain at all. Normally the cold months bring wet rain, almost like getting into the snow. Like you guys live in a place where you get snow sometimes this time of year, but it's been dry.
Okay, now that is interesting. I'll tell you what, I'll keep my eyes and ears open, and if I hear something, I will let you know.
Thank you. Now, we should head to Bramble's shop, because I'd like to talk to Garvey.
Oh, yeah, we should definitely do that. I need to go open the shop.
Yep, you guys get started. Sophie, can we get them to-go cups and maybe Meryl a water or a juice instead of coffee?
I did it. She just says I did it and goes back to what she's doing.
And whenever they leave, y'all can roleplay leaving if you want. But after they leave, I am going to just speak with Sophie and just tell her to keep her ears open if she hears anything about what they were talking about today and to let me know.
Sophie would be like, of course. Did you still want me to get all the side dishes ready for the family dinner tonight? Family dinner meaning like the actual town dinner that you guys have once a week, and normally you guys provide a bunch of the sides.
Yes, please. Is there anything you need for that? Do you need me to run any errands? Do you need money to buy things?
No, I think Joe made a bunch of it today, so maybe I'll remake it. And she kind of looks at you and winks.
That is very wise.
Great.
And for catching that, you can take tomorrow off. I'll make sure we have someone else in here. You've done a lot today.
We'll see how that goes. And she just walks to the back. She is here all the time anyway.
So we would have just left before they had that interaction.
Yeah, you guys. But how?
Right.
Yeah, go ahead. You can go ahead and leave.
Walked with purpose.
Yeah. So
Shambling.
Bramble would be like, okay, great. Now I can go open the shop. I wonder if Garvey's already there. And it was like, well, maybe I can catch his special procedure. He and my dad were talking the other day, and there's something, and I didn't really understand it all, but it was some kind of like a special poke or something. Apparently, he's having trouble. I don't know, something about soft and something. I don't know. I didn't catch all of it, but hopefully we can see this special procedure. So come on.
Ooh!
Yes.
I always want to learn about special poking procedures.
Yeah, this one's supposed to be good.
Your parents' job is so interesting.
On this day, the police storm in and find. And I was playing. Find out this is a completely wrong. Not even a. No, anyway. Massage parlors are not always what they seem to be. No, I'm just playing. Okay, moving on.
It's an acupuncture studio.
I know. I was just making a joke.
It's a legit business.
Very
It is.
legit. I was
Super legit.
making a joke.
That's Camelot on the other side of town.
That's the other one? Oh my god. Okay, you guys are on your way over there. You're gonna do that whole thing. Thistle, let's let's spring into action. No.
Yeah.
You have been you've been like cleaning up your bookstore, doing all the stuff after like the rush of the coffee.
Quote unquote rush.
The coffee rush is what I guess what you call it. Afterwards I think that E would stick around for a little bit and try and like show you some of the stuff that they like, because they get like little knickknacks, and E knows that you like little like wooden things and like stuff to put around the bookstore. And E would be like, I found, well, while we were in Madison, one of the boats came from the port town that floats in the ocean, and they said they had some really interesting knickknacks, and I got this for you. And it would put this little tiny like onyx figurine in front of you, and it looks like it's like this little cutout of like a ram, and it looks, and he's like, and she goes, and look, it's really, really sturdy. And she takes two of the larger books and puts it up and puts this little ram. It's like, it's really small, but the book's like, even being super tall in it, like for some reason, it's like it holds it up even though it's larger than itself, even though it's not. And like the books don't tip over it; they just stand up straight next to this thing, this little tiny like ram.
Wow, thank you so much. This is incredible. This is gonna be so helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and then the little fennec fox Pete is like that ram, man. You've been holding on to that ram for like 2 weeks talking about that. You finally remembered to give that to her. That's a great job. Good job, E. And like poking her. And E like gets a little bit blushed, but is like, I just like to get things for my friends, Pete.
Yeah, Pete. Well, thank you, E. This means a whole lot. I'm going to put this in a very special place.
E like scratches behind her ear and is like, I'm glad you like it. Okay. Should we make sure we get down to the docks today, Pete? And Pete's already like walking out the door with this cart. Or like, but when I say pull, he's like trying to pull the cart. Cart's not going anywhere. E literally has to push the cart for this thing to go somewhere. So E turns and goes, bye, and then like pushes the cart out the door.
Bye, Pete.
Pete's like, nice, see you again soon. As they leave, I think that's when like Beryl would come in, being like the mother squirrel, and she'd come in and be like, hi, Thistle, are you, there you are, great. And she'd like push past the cart and do the little thing like squirrels do, where they kind of like somehow like get around things, even though you're like, God, their tails are so big, how are they not like bothering everybody as they do this? But she like snakes her way over to you, and she has she goes, okay, well, it's that week, I need you to tell me. And she like slams down this like platter of like little tiny dishes, and all the little dishes each have like different little like assortments of like pulled barbecue in them. And she's like, which one should I serve this time? You have such a great taste for this, being one of the only predator animals here. And you know this is completely not true. Like friggin' like there are like literally weasels and other like things that live here, but for some reason Beryl the squirrel has gotten in her head that because you are of a fox descent that you just have the greatest tongue for tasting
Obviously.
meat. And so she's like, which one should I serve? Which one is the best? This one is golden, like barbecue. It's like much more saucy than the other ones. This one's and then this one over here is vinegary, and they're all, and I have hot sauce for all of them. And she's like really looking at you like, which one? Because Beryl wants to be known as like she's like known to give like this great dinner every 3 weeks.
Oh, Beryl, I'm sure anything that you fix is great, but I reach under the counter, pull out some utensils. Let me try each of these here and see which one is the best. So I just kind of dig into each, really savoring the flavor. Oh, you have outdone yourself this time. That's sauce. That's sauce right there, Beryl. That's it. And then you just put it on top of the vinegar base, and I think it's going to be chef's kiss. Perfect. Fantastic.
She's like, oh, both. Great, both.
You did
and
it.
then she looks over and she realizes that nobody's following her. She goes, where are my kids?
Oh.
Well.
Do you need me to help you look for them?
No, I think that should be okay. If you do find one in the store and they're not supposed to be hiding in the bookstore, then just send them home. You know where we are.
On their way.
And they know they'll be in trouble if they're found in the bookstore. And she's just being really loud like a mother. And then she goes, yeah, I hope that this is good, because this is, there's not really much left to make sauce left. I have a lot of meat because all the foragers that go out and get the animals for the meat and stuff and hides, and those are all great. And the leather workers always give us great jerky around this time of year. But I haven't gotten anything from any of the farmers or any of the... Normally we have berry bushes that really do well,
Right.
but none of them bloomed anything yet.
I'd heard Pete and E were just in here with the coffee, and they were mentioning it's that way up north, too. Not just here.
Oh, well, that's very scary.
Yeah.
She looks around
And I
and goes,
tried looking in my books, but I didn't see anything, at least from what I could tell.
Beryl has this nervous tick that she does sometimes when she gets to when she is going into mom mode, where her ear kind of goes down and she touches it and then lets go and it flops up and then goes back down and she grabs it again and she's like, well, I'm sure my kids aren't in here. And then she goes, we'll talk about it at dinner. I hope you have a wonderful day. I know that
sounds wonderful.
what's your little friend's name that has all your books?
That has all my books?
Yeah.
Oh, Meryl? My little special book friend, Meryl.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I know I just saw her run over to where the acupuncture place, and
Yes.
and
yes.
I know that all my children were trying to follow her places because they like her stories, but I told them to leave her alone.
She's so much fun.
She looked like she was on a mission today, so I told them to leave her alone. But but again, she looked like she was doing something much more important than just reading books, and you know how important reading books are to her. So maybe you should check that out. I don't really know. I'm gonna go find my children. And she turns around and goes, thank you, and then runs out the door because squirrels are all high energy and they're very hard to keep track of.
Yeah, no, I feel like after the kind of the rush, like you said, there's not really too many people in here buying books today. This'll might close the shop early. Just kind of flip the sign, lock the door, and go over to check out Bramble's shop and see what's going on with that.
Very cool. Okay. So Thistle would get to Bramble's shop a good 10 or 15 minutes after Bramble and Meryl have gotten there. Bramble, you pretty much help run the shop at this point, but your dad kind of does the stuff. And but I think that he would tell you that you're not allowed to watch everything with Garvey, mostly because Meryl's there. But when Garvey was finished, he would let you guys be the nurses to help make sure that he was good. So this way you still get to speak to him, but your father doesn't have to deal with it during a procedure.
whatever Garvey needed taken care of.
So I would think that Thistle would get there right as you guys were about to be let into the back. So you guys would have a little meeting at first. So go ahead, Thistle. You got there right at the, right before they're allowed in the back.
Mm-hmm. Meryl, fantastic. I heard you were here. Were you able to talk to Garvey?
Thistle, fantastic timing. We are about to talk to him.
Bram will be welcome to the acupuncturist shop. As an interruption.
Oh,
yes.
Bramble.
You have an appointment, Thistle.
Yeah, you'll definitely have to set something up. You know, lifting all those books onto the shelves does kind of mess up my shoulders a little bit. They are a little tight.
Right. Okay, I will mark you down as shoulder pain. Let me get my chart for, my parents later on. And okay. How does tomorrow at 10:15 sound?
Sounds perfect. I'm sure my dad can watch the shop for me for a few hours.
Fantastic. Well, on the books. Wanted to speak to Garvey.
Yes, we're speaking to Garvey because Lady Somar says that this has happened before. It happened a long time ago where the crops were affected and there was a giant monster in the mountains eating the clouds, and they had to hire some adventurers to go get the monster. And everyone so far doesn't seem to think there could be a monster, but I think there could be.
There's obviously no monster that eats clouds. We've gone through this at least through 2 other people.
Now,
Thistle.
there are books about monsters, but they're usually based in some form of truth. There's some kind of animal or something up there that's doing this, but it may not exactly be the full magical fantasy story. like
That's all
Somar
we're saying.
said.
See?
No, she said that it was logical, but that there's probably not a monster that's eating clouds.
Well, I'm just calling it a monster because we don't know what it is yet. But
Well,
it's
that's
not
very nice. We should not always assume people are monsters just because we haven't met them yet.
That's true.
Have you not seen Meryl in her 10th cup of coffee?
10?
I've been doing a really good job cutting back. Thank you very much.
10 is cutting back. Ooh, okay.
Or let me go check and make sure Garvey is sociable and appropriately dressed before I allow others into the back room. Excuse me. And Rainbow will walk back and make sure that everything is good before she, lets the other 2 back.
While you're doing that, Thistle, roll history.
Okay.
Mary will go to Thistle being like, I really have been good.
Ooh, that's not good. That's a 7.
So there's a book about these for better or worse little bear creatures that live in clouds, and there is a monster in that book that eats clouds, and the bears use the power of friendship to stop it.
Yes, but I'm very sure that's in the fiction section for a reason.
Yes it is.
Freaking Care Bears or something.
I'm not saying that is exactly what I just pulled from, but it might be a
Well,
story.
Meryl, maybe we can use the power of friendship to defeat it.
Sounds wonderful.
But that being said,
Right.
that's the story of a cloud-eating monster that you remember. The problem with that is that is specifically a cloud that is a monster that you remember. But you rolled a 7, so
Right.
I don't have to give you anything, really.
Bramble's gonna
There
poke her
aren't
head
any
back in.
clouds right now, so the fact that the cloud is the monster wouldn't make sense.
That's fair.
That's right.
Bramble's gonna poke her head back in and be like, yeah, it's good. He's dressed. The procedure went well if any of you are interested. And she'll pull back the curtain and let them walk in.
Garvey.
Okay, great.
Garvey is sitting on this very comfortable wooden swoop chair, and he looks a little bit more younger than normal, even he just almost he just looks like he's much more fit than normal. They did a great job.
Right. It was some sort of vitality procedure. I don't really know. That's what I overheard anyways.
He's sitting there and he's he's looking at a little hand-drawn map of just this immediate area of the shoreline, and he's kind of just overlooking it and talking to himself because he's still kind of concerned that how much rowing he had to do, and honestly he's just an old man, so it's his version of a newspaper.
feel like Meryl would bust in and be like, Garvey, I heard you guys had a hard time this too. How do you feel?
I feel really much better now that Meryl's pa helped me with all this. It was and I've had a couple drinks from Eli. I can't really complain about my day anymore. I should be able to. I would be able to. If Joe was here, I would complain more. But he's not. So I guess I'm not going to complain.
She would go to Bramble and be like, I think he was talking about your dad because I don't have a dad. So I'm thinking it's your dad.
Yes, I would agree. Like, Bramble's going to look over at Meryl like, obviously.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Just wanted to make sure. You know, I learn new things every day. So be like, okay, that's good, Joe. That's good, Garvey.
He's not supposed to be having alcohol before his sessions. And like Bramble's gonna look and narrow her eyes at great.
Like, yeah, that's semantics. Anyways, to get to why we're here.
Yeah, Garvey's gonna say, you know, they say you're not supposed to mix alcohol with different things, but I find that if I mix alcohol with everything, then it's not mixing it with anything. It's mixing your shit with mine.
He has a point.
Cool. Go ahead.
Anyways, so I went to talk to Lady Somar this morning, as I do, and she mentioned that with the weirdness of no waves but wind, and no crops with no rain and no clouds. This has happened before. There was something that was in the mountain over by Madison where there was a monster eating the clouds. And you had to hire some adventurers, and they took care of it. She said you were alive during that time. Do you remember exactly what happened? Because as much as I enjoy Lady Somar's stories, I know that she does embellish a little bit.
He's gonna look up at on the wall in this room there is a big poster of different animal like sections where all the like acupuncture points go and all the sections. There's specifically one of a squirrel, and he's gonna like look up at it and kind of like smirk, and he's like, I've been alive for a long time. I remember a lot of stuff. Cloud-eating monster. The one from the mountains. He's gonna point at you.
Yes,
That's it.
the one from the mountains.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I caught that thing a long time ago, though. It's dead.
Can I insight check?
Yeah, by all means, please. That's why I paused.
And like,
Please do.
there's a monster.
What if I perception check that?
Insight.
You can
sounds
perception,
great.
I can insight.
Exactly, exactly.
No, insight sounds great. Let's do this insight check that you asked for.
Okay. I really hope someone else besides me does that.
I can try that, because I'm
Yeah,
here too.
okay.
So let me see.
Sure, Thistle. Go ahead. Give me an insight check.
Boom.
Those are both good.
Wow. Okay.
Meryl's just like, yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Wow.
Meryl's like, oh, you
insight
caught
as
it?
fuck.
Bramble's like, you're a lying fuck. What?
Exactly.
And he's like, yeah, no, I caught this giant creature out in the ocean, and everybody cheered for me, but I don't know about it eating clouds. I just remember the giant. And now he's trying to tell a story about this giant fish he caught. So you'd have to get him back on track. I would think that with Thistle 17 will allow that to happen. Bramble's like not taking any of this crap either.
That sounds like a great story, but we were talking about the mountains, not fish.
Right. He's
Right.
like, Bramble's like waiting for him to tell Meryl that, all of this is some shit. Just like all of it. Like this never actually happened. That there's just some creature, right? And there's a logical explanation. Like that's what Bramble is expecting. No, none of your drunk stories. Just
Oh, but I like the
Well,
drunk
this is
story.
Garvey we're talking to.
We are on a
And
mission.
he's gonna stop and he'll get real serious. And he'll say, the last time all the clouds went away, we did have to hire a bunch of people from Madison, and it cost us a lot. It's actually the reason that we're considered part of Madison now, sort of, because we don't have a lot of money for the town, but we did have to have adventurers come to this part of the world and go past the Greybark Forest into the large mountain to stop whatever it was. I don't know if it was a monster that ate any clouds, but there was something that did suck all the clouds up that they had to go fix. I don't think a lot of them ever came back either. I know that none of them ever came back to Coldmeadow. I think there was a way to tell where the you could see the darkness in the sky where the clouds were getting sucked into. That's how they figured out where to go. And he's gonna stand up and start walking past you guys, and like just push past you guys out of the thing. And if you follow, you'll follow. You would follow him outside, unless you're gonna stay here and talk. I don't really know, but he's gonna go outside.
Follow.
No, absolutely. You can't just say that and then just walk out.
He goes outside and he's like looking up, and he like looks around, and he does a thing where he like paces a little bit, and then he'd go, yeah, right there, and he'd like point to like some place off in the distance above the not above the mountain, but above the forest, and you would see that there is this little like darkened piece of the sky, and there are no clouds in the sky, but there's definitely a darkened piece of the sky above the forest. And he's like, that's what it looked like. I caught a fish that day, though. It was ginormous. And he starts telling you about this giant fish he caught again.
Right. I was like, whoa. Thank you. That is an awesome fish story.
It was.
Has that always been there? Like, trying to remember. Do you remember that dark spot?
I know what we were missing with all those perception checks now.
Yeah.
Right?
Hence is why this fits in. Like,
oh yeah. Oh, makes sense.
Yeah.
Be like, was that there this morning? Might have been there this morning. I don't think it was there this morning. Has it been there this morning? She starts muttering to herself. She's like, anyways, we need to, clearly, the town is in need of some new heroes.
so what, we're just gonna march right out to this so-called dark spot that a drunk, literally, great guy, but still.
Garby's gonna start wandering off, talking about how much it cost last time they had to buy heroes and stuff, and how crazy it was.
Be like, don't be ridiculous. We're not going straight there. We're gonna go to Port Madison first. We must investigate where the story started the first time. Look, if Garby's still around the last time it happened, there's bound to be other older, wiser people that are still in the port that might have known what happened. I mean, a lot of people didn't come back last time, so I don't think we can ask them.
Wait, so you're talking about, like, leaving the village, right? Like, away from everybody.
Yeah. She'll look at Thistle.
Let me
Like-
run to my store and
Like, how
see
many
if there's
days?
any books that might mention these old heroes and what happened. And I'll see if I can get some more information for you.
Great idea. Let me join you.
How far do you think, in terms of, like, us walking day speed, would it take for us to get from here to Madison?
I've got maps there as well. We can figure that out too.
I just need to know so I can double it.
Double it.
Yeah. Hey, Dad, I'm going on an adventure. Won't be back. You know, like, double it.
Okay, so we'll figure all this out and we'll ask some questions at this feast, and then we can set out on our to save the town's pumpkins.
Right. Save
That's
the
it.
town. Save the
For the
town.
pumpkins
The
and the
great-
Or
coffee.
the pumpkins.
The great heroes of the pumpkin patch. Okay, Okay, so, fast forward a little bit. You guys go to the thing. I think that you would help with all the acupuncture stuff during the day, get your family to... Now, during the day, everybody's setting up this big middle, like, come on, camera, you can see me, thank you. You'd see the whole, like, you know, everybody's getting everything set up. The squirrel families are all doing their things. There's like this one family of like seagull type, like seagulls that like they don't fly anymore for whatever reason, and they're like, they've been around for a long time, but they don't belong to Coldmeadow particularly. They used to like come and go, but now they've like settled here at like the edge of the town. And they specifically bring some like food they have, but they, even when they show up, they're kind of explaining like, hey, you know, we know that's not supposed to be a potluck, but we don't have a lot of food, so we figured that because we don't have a lot, you guys might not have a lot. So they made like this weird casserole looking thing of all these vegetables and like roots that they have. And it's like when somebody brings green bean casserole that has like almonds and stuff in it, and it's just like everybody's looking at it like, nobody wants this, but thanks, you know. It's like the green bean casserole with like the raisins in it type of thing. And so like
Meryl's gonna eat it. She's gonna have a huge serving.
Great.
Yeah.
But everybody is around the tables, and after everybody starts to eat, then like some of the voles come down and they like help, and you would see that like some of the like younger voles are like folding the paper up back into the origami things that the great grandmother Salmar was making earlier. That's why she was folding and unfolding the paper so that the little kids could fold the papers back in to make their own little animals.
Oh.
And so she spent like all day doing this so that like all like 10 of the vole children could then fold their own animals together. And it's just a cute little, you know, very, very warming scene of like all the families coming together. And Pete is there, but E isn't there because E goes to sleep very early into the night, and like a badger sleeps the whole night away no matter what. But Pete's there, and he like provides everybody with like a little tiny espresso for after like the dinner or whatever. Gives Meryl her own specific espresso that has like cream on it because he like is like besties with her. And everybody else is like, stop giving her coffee. He's like, no, that's what I do. Like, I give everybody coffee. I'll give her coffee if she wants coffee. She's old enough to know what she wants. And like Pete is like dead on your side for this, no matter what. Everybody else is like, stop doing this.
Yes.
But around the table, what you do start to hear is all of the elders talk about how there's no possible way they could afford to help pay for heroes again, or adventurers again, to fix the weather. Last time they had to do it, it cost them literally the freedom of the town, and it was this huge issue. Thistle and Meryl, you would have come up with pretty much you would have stories about like recounts of like these adventurers coming, but you would have no specific details about the adventurers. You would just know that there were the only details you'd have is that there were two like wolves, a large rat type of like, specifically like a muskrat that was like a knight, and a bird that was with them that was probably a crow, but because he was so like hooded that nobody really ever got to see what kind of bird he was. And these four set off, and although the world did the clouds did come back from the mountain, they never came back, and they never claimed. There was somebody that showed up to claim the money for them, but the group never came back. They never got to have their feast, because one of the things was that they were going to throw this, like Madison was going to throw this great feast for them and say thank you, because again, the clouds all came back. But the recount says that nobody ever came back. The feast was never had, but although a gentleman did show up to collect all the gold, it was never to them specifically.
Do we know the name of the gentleman who came and picked up the? Do we know who he, like, what type of animal he was? Where, if he was from Madison or if he was from Meadow?
No, it was just a I want to say like kind of like an older, like, oh man, what are those dogs called with the flat faces? I love them. What are they, bulldogs? The ones that had like the little teeth, the little...
I think, yeah.
One second, everybody.
No problem.
Well, please be nice to your brother while I'm at work. Trevor, go ahead. Anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like a bulldog, like one of the little flat-faced bulldog. It was like a gentleman that showed up to collect all of it. He seemed like he had all of the correct stuff, I guess, that needed to be shown that he was the one who was supposed to be to collect everything. Apparently Madison paid him and he left, and that like he was there on behalf of that. I think it would say something like they hired them from like the Adventurers Guild up north, from like one of the larger kingdoms, and he was the liaison to the guild basically. But you guys are so far south, or not so far south, but like you guys are so detached from the like larger kingdom, the larger like world of this place that, you know, it's really generally to get to you guys, you either have to go through the mountain range or take like very specific routes where like you wouldn't leave going north unless you were going to get on a boat and sail away. But then it would be like, why wouldn't you have used the port? Because Madison's the most northern port here to this place. So it was all very weird and mysterious, but at the same time the clouds came back, so nobody ever really wanted to question it.
How would they not want to ask questions? That's how you get answers.
So this is all you would have found out. And again, like I said, one of the reasons why that was so hard is because none of the adventurers really ever came back, and there's no real reports of them that you would have otherwise.
Well, we don't have them, but maybe Madison has something.
That's a good point.
And they have that garden too. Of heroes, we should go there.
We'll add that to the list.
Can Bramble seek the wisdom of the ancient tree in the middle of the town for wisdom?
Cool. Yes, that would be cool. So everybody's at dinner, and so tell me about how you would ask the tree for. You'd have to walk away from everybody. There's
I would definitely walk away. You know, like there's a lot of hustle and bustle going on since everybody's eating. But she'd walk away towards the divine tree, her divine tree, and she would just like kneel and touch it, right? And just be like, there's something weird going on. There's something strange going on. My quills can feel it, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Ancient tree of divine wisdom, with your roots spread so far and so wide, what do you feel, or what can you tell me is going on? Let me be able to see and sense through your, I don't want to say boundary, but, your power.
Cool. Okay. With all that, one, do you have any spells that let you talk to plants or anything?
I don't think I took that one. I still haven't quite figured out
That's fine.
all
That's
the
fine.
spells.
Okay, so we're not casting any spells to go along with this. Is my point.
Right, not yet. I don't think I picked that up.
Fine, no problem.
But I will.
I think everybody is currently level 4.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Roll a d20.
Okay.
Morgan, if you're a cleric, do you
And that was a 2.
That's really good. That's really good. I'm not gonna lie.
I was gonna say, do you have divine intervention? Because that was.
She does not. She doesn't have it. So while she doesn't have divine intervention at this point, I believe.
Oh, it's not currently here. Yeah.
What I was gonna do is I was gonna like make it a pseudo version of that since she talks to this tree so often. I was gonna say roll a d20, and if you got under your level, I was gonna give her something. So realistically, under her level.
Good job.
You do this a lot. You never really expect anything back. It's just kind of like your way of prayer.
Right.
And you give your little speech, and as you say, you go to touch the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even like a voice. You just, as you touch it, it almost feels like it's like feeling that electricity of like you know when you like don't shock yourself, but you can feel the current go through you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody else is as much of a degenerate as me when it comes to this type of stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
okay, cool. Let's play that game. Yeah. So like you feel like this current hit you, and it's almost like hearing something in your head, and it's like you get this grave feeling, and it's like this. You hear the tree almost saying like how hungry it is and how tired it is because it hasn't been fed in so long. This is when you start realizing that there's been no rain, so this tree has not been watered in like months. And it's almost like asking you for help, but then it starts to say that there's something happening in the forest that is taking away its food, and even its roots that you, like you said, it has this far-reaching roots. This is one of the largest trees in this area, and it says, and it's almost like it's telling you that something is happening, that it needs more food where in the dirt or in like the soil where it is, and normally it's even if it doesn't rain, it's able to gather more like energy from like into the forest, but the forest is doing just as bad as it is here. And like I said, it's not like a voice, you just feel all this, and it would like push you. Like this is not something where you have time to go, there's no like time to go gather information. This is like a serious something needs to change right now.
Right. Okay, so after receiving all of that, Bramble would just be shocked, right? That the tree said something, like responded differently today. Usually it's just kind of a gentle wash, but so she would immediately, get up, understanding the ancient tree's urgency, and practically run back to the party, and the whole dinner party and whatnot.
Yeah.
And she would basically be like, okay, I just spoke to the ancient tree, like it's dying, it's not getting enough water, enough nutrients. We're talking the roots that spread so far past this town, it's not even pulling nutrients from there. We need to do something. We need to do something like right now in this moment, because if that great tree dies, what happens to the rest of our village? That great tree protects all of us. We need to put a party together now. Who's taking out I don't know what we're killing. What are we killing first off? I should probably start there.
Sama would be like, that giant monster in the mountains are back, huh?
Meryl would go, wow, the tree talked to you? That happened in my books too before. But I believe, what did you say before? About the books and what I should read?
Bramble's gonna like narrow her eyes, right, at Meryl and be like, the tree didn't actually speak in words, Meryl, right?
Oh.
I'm translating the feeling of the ancient tree that has protected our town since the beginning, okay? Not the same as your made-up monster that's sucking up clouds out of the sky. Like, let's be clear about that. Now, with all of that being said, we need to form a party to hunt said creature, not monster, creature, right? She's gonna stand up tall, make sure her family knows she's still very mature. Creature.
From
right?
the tree feelings.
Not feelings.
Did you
Proper
say feelings?
not feelings.
Not feelings.
All of
Right. Because of the tree has roots in the ground.
Yes.
Logic.
Yes.
I
did see trees' feelings underneath the last diagram I looked at, so that does. But Meryl fully believes you. She's really just wants.
I think that all of the some of the older people would start talking and you'd Eli, you're close enough that you'd kind of like hear them. And I guess maybe Thistle and Eli, you're probably sitting actually eating at the table, unlike everybody else. Like there's like 37 hedgehog, or like there's like 36 or like 32 of the 37 hedgehogs like running around playing with squirrels and like other things, and you guys are sitting at the table probably. I don't really know. Maybe Eli, you wouldn't be. I don't really know. But if you are sitting at the table, you would overhear the older of the crowd start talking with some of the other parents about how if that is true, then I guess they're gonna have to send some people over to Madison, and it'll take them about a month to get back, and because Madison's a far stint, and other than Pete, who makes it there very quickly and back, and Pete's not telling anybody how he does it, that basically like it's a long haul to go to Madison and get back.
So outside of the other sailors, I would be probably one of the few people that's been there as someone else that's left the town regularly during the younger portion of my life.
Right, and even sailing, it's a good little stint. Like there's a reason why you guys only trade with Madison like 2 months of the year. 1 month going into the cold months, and then 1 month, and then a month after the cold months. Like these are the only times you guys go to Madison. Pete, who specifically does this little thing with this coffee thing, he says he goes to Madison, but like nobody really knows if he's telling the truth or not, or how that works, or how he gets back month over month. But he is in your all's town 2 weeks out of each month, and then the other weeks he says he's going to Madison. But I mean, y'all don't know what the hell Pete's doing, and Pete's not really up for telling anybody what he's actually doing. So
Would he tell Meryl?
Apparently not, because he tells you a bunch of stories that he embellishes, and that's the point.
Well, this is true, but she's probably never asked.
I can see that being true. Like,
well, she's probably never asked, hi, what is the most direct way to get to Madison? She hasn't had to leave.
That's true. But the point is that you all would know that they're about to send some people to Madison. And they're planning for them to get back next month, which would be normally when people are leaving to go trade with Madison for the winter months. And so this is now becoming a larger problem. But nobody's really stepping up to go be heroes of the town because, again, this town is a sleepy little town that doesn't have a lot of fighters in it or anything like that.
Right.
Meryl would take Bramble's hand and be like, okay, no, I believe you. I'm sorry, I was teasing. I believe you. And she would run over and be like, we'll go. 2 of us. Hello. And then start waving our hands. Meryl would get up and like try to pull Bramble up on a chair. So that way, because we're tiny and we demand attention.
Bramble would be a little uncomfortable with this, just because she feels like standing next to Meryl on a chair would show a level of immaturity that she feels she shouldn't show in front of her parents and other 37 siblings that are currently running around.
Your father would be one of the ones that turn around, Bramble, and they'd look and he would say, I don't think that you children need to be going to do anything. This would kind of tweak you a little bit, Bramble, because he doesn't, while he does regard you as a child, you're not really ever called one of the children.
Right.
And also this would be him kind of dismissing what you guys were talking about. I think that even then Somar would be like, I think we'll just let some of the fishermen and this nice gentleman here go, and they'll get back in time to, hopefully when they get back, things will be better. Again, Bramble, this would really tweak you or really bother you because this is an urgent thing, and going to and from Madison is taking way more time than it should. You need to go and fix this, especially if you want crops to grow in the next couple weeks.
So Bramble would sigh, move her shoulders and whatnot, trying to wash off the irritation, and be like, look, I am not a child. I run a whole lot of shit in our family and in this village, and the Divine Tree has given me the quest to get this done. Now, if you would like to send other quote-unquote adults with us, that is your prerogative. But this is my quest, and it shall be handled by me and Meryl. Yes. Meryl's here too, yes.
And Meryl would eventually try to pull Bramble up, being like, see, it feels a lot better announcing this from a chair. Be like, and then she's like hyping you up, being like, yeah, we're gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna do this.
Roll persuasion.
The tree told her.
I guess she's helping you on the chair. Roll persuasion with advantage.
I hope I don't have to roll persuasion.
Yeah, that's you. Roll persuasion with advantage there, Bramble.
Oh God. Okay, I have a -1 in persuasion.
You got this.
Wow! I've never had a character that had this -1 persuasion.
Okay, and we'll try and roll it again.
Well, let's put it like this. You may be very mature, Bramble, and Meryl for that matter, but you both seem to be very eager to run headfirst into danger when neither one of you have actually had to experience danger. And that, while I appreciate, and I'm sure everyone in the town can see your bravery and your maturity, running in blind is not the most adult thing to do. Let's come up with a better plan, and if you guys want to be involved, since you've been you've already been involved, so excluding you at this point does seem a bit harsh. But let's try to come up with another plan instead of sending 2 of our young adults off on their own on a quest that the last set of trained adventurers didn't come back from.
Don't think I didn't hear you almost say children. And no one said we were running into this blind. We just haven't formulated the plan just yet.
That
But everyone,
is what that
Ilias
means.
Elias has agreed to come with us. Isn't that amazing, everyone? That's basically
That
what you
is
just
not
said.
what I said. I have a bar to run.
Well, I mean, you're the one who supposedly has the plan, right?
He said we need a better plan. He's a well-seasoned sailor.
And I'll make sure to gather up whatever information I can find on the area and bring it with us.
Thistle's going to come as well. What a fantastic, well-rounded group.
See?
Good. So we do have some quote-unquote adults.
So on an 8, and after that beautiful little speech of Eli, not Somar's now starting to walk home because it's gonna take her most of the night. But the other grown-ups, like Garvey and Gustav and some of the older of the town, they're like, well, I mean, they start kind of mumbling, and like at first they were gonna be like really heavy set against what you said on an 8, but he also said some things, and so they're starting to agree with Eli. Yeah, we'll come up with something better. There's no urgency to anything that they're saying at all. And they kind of just leave it at that and go back to eating, and some of them disperse.
I mean, guys, we're already going to send a bunch of people to Madison next month anyway. So, if you guys are interested in exploring and seeing the world, maybe you can take this next month to plan everything out, get it squared away with your family. Bramble, you help your father. You can't just up and leave. This will give everyone a chance to be prepared, come up with a thorough plan, and you guys can set out with one of the sailors next month.
You expect me to wait an entire month with the divine tree on the line?
This gives us plenty of time to pull up maps of the area, prepare ourselves for where we're going to go, figure out what we'll need. Because if we just run in blind, that's not going to help anyone.
Still not blind.
Okay, I tell you what. Let's, is there anyone else
First
that
question.
can check out the great tree? One of the elders? You know what, here. Can I roll an Arcana check on the great tree myself? Just to be like, look, I'm sure it's not as bad as you think it is.
Arcana.
So what? My vision quest wasn't good enough? You need to go back and check to make sure you're at what? Like,
Arcana. I think you'd roll nature instead of Arcana.
Okay.
I don't at least doubt your vision, Bramble, but I still feel like we do need sufficient amount of time to prepare ourselves for what this journey might entail.
fine. That's not a month.
Well, since I'm magically inclined anyway, I'm an Arcana trickster. Could I get away with Arcana, or would you prefer nature?
I think it'd be nature, because Arcana. Okay. You're not a cleric, so it's not like it's gonna be an arcane thing. She's talking to like the spirit of the tree at this point. So
that is a 20.
Okay. Tree looks like it needs some kind of help, though. It's not doing so well. Like where it is normally this wonderfully like evergreen tree, it is a very, very, very you would be like, well, it does need water. Like it definitely needs like something is going on.
It hasn't rained much, but well, it doesn't look very good now, does it?
No. Talk through that for a second. I have to go and 1 second.
Right.
So I feel like at this point, Meryl would, like she did earlier, she would cast prestidigitation and put a spotlight on herself. She's like, hold on! We are not done with this discussion. I believe in Bramble's vision. I believe time is not on our side. We must go to Madison post-haste. We do not have the time to plan, and you all know how much I like planning. We must go at first light tomorrow. We must learn what we need to and go into the tree. No one else wants to volunteer for this. Who do I have to say goodbye to? No one. So I'm going to leave tomorrow, and someone can join me.
Meryl, have you ever been outside of the town?
Nope, but it seems like a good time to start.
Meryl, have you ever fought anyone, let alone a monster that can consume clouds and dehydrate an entire forest?
It's not a monster, right? It's not eating clouds.
Hypothetically speaking.
It's still something that we're going to have to fight. Possibly.
Right. We don't really know if it's a monster or a creature. What if it's just a form of locust or something?
Bramble, you got a vision from the tree, and monster's the word that you're... I'm trying to back you up here. Back me up. Come on.
Oh no, we're definitely leaving at first light. That's not the question. I'd rather not assume that it's a monster right off the bat. I feel like getting to Madison is our first step, and that will give us plenty of time to plan, to think about, to do some research. So we're not going in blind. We're just doing this on our way.
Yes.
Just don't know what you're doing.
But that's why we're going to Madison, to learn
And
more.
Aren't we taking you for some reason?
Yes,
Isn't
I
because
did not agree to go.
he wants to go.
At least give me the night to grab up a few things that I think we'll need to take along the road with us.
Of course, it's first light.
Everyone is assuming we are leaving at first light. Where are your parents?
My parents are going to run the store while I'm gone.
Have you asked them that?
And
Sure, it'll be
leaving regardless, because I am an adult.
Aren't you the third oldest?
Is your point?
You still have responsibilities, Bramble. You want to
There
be an
are
adult. An adult often has to put to the side the things that they are interested in to do the things that are important.
I do the things that are important, and this is very important.
Yeah, I would have to agree. This seems like it's very important.
This is
We have
really
no
I
idea.
have not heard either of you talk about this until this morning.
Fine.
I
If Pine
understand.
Tree
your
dies,
sense of
what
urgency.
happens to the town?
I really like Eli trying to be like the oldest actually here. It's very
Excellent.
Goonie-esque, I'm not gonna lie. Okay. I think that at this point, even with you guys talking and like huddling around your little conversation, the tables would have been taken apart because the squirrels do it. So like Beryl would have had the tables taken apart, and she'd be like, and Sophie would come over and hand you guys one last thing, and then like Pete would come over and give you like your little last like little espresso, Meryl, and it would have like all this whipped cream on it, and like little, it has like a little like the whipped cream is made into like a bunny, so it has like a little face and like the two little beans on it, have like the thing, and he's like, here you go.
Absolutely. Pete would be like, oh my gosh, thank you. I needed this. I think I'm going to be up all night planning. We need a good way to get to Madison. Pete, how do you get to Madison?
There's a road. Just take the road. It takes a while.
It takes a while, but you're so fast. Do you have a shortcut?
No,
Can we like insight check that?
by all means.
Can
I want to
I?
pull Pete off to the side and just be like, so how were things in Madison the last time you were there?
25. Insight.
7 on insight. Okay.
I told you, Bramble is insightful as fuck. Just
Okay.
all of us. Yeah.
Okay.
Give him that
let's
stare down.
see.
Like,
Yeah, I guess when you have 37 people to practice on. You
Damn
get better
straight.
at it.
hey.
We'll be right back. Wow, that really messes up my screen. That's funny. So anyway, on a 25, very, very specifically, you would know that he is straight up lying. about everything he's talking about. Like, literally, he is like, but you don't know exactly how much he's lying about, but whatever he's saying to, God, what is her character's name? Meryl? I almost called her Privy. Whatever he's saying to Meryl is just falsehoods.
Okay.
You'd even get the sense that he doesn't go to Madison at all.
Oh.
Like he's just straight up. Just he's trying to keep his story going because he likes talking to her, but really it's just a thing of he likes Meryl and Meryl has no idea that he likes her.
Check.
Great. All right, I'll pull you back up. Ready?
All right, ready.
Write sheet up and hang it opposite of your ring light and just bounce the light off of that so it's not as bright.
Oh no. Hold up. No, it switched my friggin' things. Why? This is super interesting. Maybe if I turn mine on, it'll go back. Yes, it did. I fixed it. We're good. I'm back in the DM square. Wow, what a weirdness. That was weird. I'm gonna have to remember that for next time I do it. Whew. Okay. So yeah, no. Pete is like, and he kind of looks around, and knowing what I told you, maybe you, I don't know how. You know what? Bramble, what you doing?
So after Bramble, stared him down, she just, like sighed, like, look, I don't just talk, talk to Meryl. I'm sure, you'd get along great anyway. But you don't need to fucking lie to my face. Like, that's not cool.
He'd look around and he'd get a little bit red-faced and he'd say, yeah, there's not really a shortcut to... I've been to Madison. I go to Madison. Normally I go with the rest of the group that goes. I might go an extra time of the year. There's not
Meryl will Puss in Boots, like, stare with above her, like, her whipped cream.
Yeah.
Don't let them influence you. Just what was the situation in Madison when you were there last? You said you just came from there.
And he's gonna look at you and kind of like jerk his head, and he's gonna be like, I did say that, huh?
You just said that you spoke to the new chief of the port, Rodson.
Yeah.
I had it. I took it down.
Rodson. He's gonna
Bramble's
he's gonna
staring
go,
at you.
and he's gonna look at Bramble, and Bramble's like staring at him.
It's like dead ass there, just.
And he's just gonna sigh, and he's gonna be like, look, I go to Madison like 3 times a year. I go twice with your people and once by myself with E during the nicer months. I haven't been to Madison since the last time everybody else went. I just buy a lot of coffee and sell it really slowly to you people. And I really just have all the stories because I like talking to you, Meryl.
I like talking to you too, Pete.
Right. You
It
completely goes over Meryl's head.
Yeah, I was like, Bramble's like, I think he likes talking to you.
But Pete's gonna interrupt all of that, no matter what. He's but no, Eli, I just told a little. I tell Meryl some extra stories because we like talking. I didn't mean to get into this mess. So I don't know how Madison is.
Okay. Well, we definitely can't let them go there without any information now.
So you
Well,
really
I'm
don't
sure I
have
have plenty of books on Madison that we can read before we leave.
Yeah, see, here's the thing about towns and cities and people. They're very different than how they are in books.
While this is happening, Pete is going to back up and slowly try and get himself
Well, how else do you
away from
expect us
this
to get more
very
up-to-date
embarrassing
information now unless
situation.
we actually go?
Usually you send a letter or you talk
A letter?
to someone that's been there.
First-hand knowledge is the best way to learn.
Yes, and you get.
And we'll get first-hand
I
knowledge by
want to
go.
go find.
And then I will write everything down and bring it back, but then by then it will have changed again.
Okay, so
Be like, bye, Pete. Meryl notices him sneaking away. You can't sneak away
Pete's
from
gonna be like, bye, Meryl. And then he's gonna like little fennec fox away, like turn into a real creature all of a sudden and take off.
Man, I wish I had a shortcut. I need to get there soon.
Well, at least we know.
That was funny. Okay, it is that time of night that normally Bramble you'd be having to go to sleep, or at least because this is after the kids. This is late. Normally, you stayed out a little bit later than you normally tend to. I think Eli, you'd probably go open the bar.
I gotta get to my bar. All these people just had a feast, and now they're gonna want to drink and pass out.
All right. Bramble wants to make a note to explain love to Meryl later on, that when two people love each other and they kiss, you end up with lots of siblings.
Okay.
Bramble will make that note. Eli's gonna make a note to correct Bramble's understanding of how relationships and mating works as well.
Be like, okay, well, kissing doesn't sound too appealing, but that's good to know.
But I think that's what Pete wanted. That's what I said. He liked you. He wanted to kiss you.
But
Okay, everyone go to bed. I will explain
Poor
all of this.
Pete.
Not now.
But every time you kiss, you get a litter.
That is
That's
not how
really
that works.
excessive.
I will show you a book on that later.
Whoa.
ooh,
Oh, thank you,
books?
sister.
The
You
Madison
can
books?
handle education. That is not my pay grade.
after we get back from slaying the monster, we should look at those books. But first, Madison books. Let's go to the bookstore.
Bookstore!
Bookstore.
I'm going back to my bunker.
Okay, I'll see you in the morning.
Please do
Bramble's
not do
also
anything stupid or end up dead, killed, or lost before morning.
How would that happen in my bookstore?
and Bramble's going home.
I'm gonna look at all three of you and just say y'all find a way, and I'm gonna turn around and walk away.
We're just going to be reading, sir, and taking notes.
Bye, Elias. See you bright and early.
Make sure to pack an extra change of underwear and pants.
I don't do
It's a long
anything
trip.
bright.
So
I don't do anything bright and early. I am not a sailor anymore.
So Eli goes back to his bar. Thistle and Meryl are going to the bookstore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Bramble, you're going to your house?
Yes.
Great. Let's follow Bramble real quick. Bramble, you're walking to your house and that feeling is still pulling at you. It's still coursing. I mean, you rolled a 2 when you needed below a 4. So I'm going to really push this into you. This is this real you look up even and it's clear sky. You can see all the stars. It would bother you that there are no clouds. You look over and see that little dark spot. Even at night when it's a clear sky, in the moonlight, you see the dark spot above the Greybark Woods.
Right.
You'd have to. It just this nagging feeling of this tree that you are very much connected to, that now you're really connected to. It's like it answered your prayers, literally.
Right.
Weird moment. And nobody else is taking initiative. So go ahead, tell me about your night here.
So Bramble would usually just be grateful and give thanks for the clear skies and the things like that, because it's usually an incredible thing to sit, in the great tree and watch all the stars and stuff like that. And so it's this really weird contrast of feelings where before she would be grateful for it, but now she's concerned, what happens to the town if the great tree dies, and nobody actually believes that it's really this, like paramount. And so Bramble would kind of be feeling this level of frustration, and then she'd look at that dark spot and immediately think of Meryl and be like, damn monster, like just this girl. Like, she would never tell Meryl she said monster, but she's kind of have this like, what if it is this cloud eating monster, like, and the fact that the great tree granted her this quest, like, that alone would be incredible, would be epic. The great tree's never responded to her like this, but it chose Bramble, right, me, in its great time of need to save it. And Bramble will stop at nothing, right, to make sure this tree lives.
So as you're having this feeling and this thought, you'd hit the front door and you'd open the... What just happened?
Alex just went off screen.
Oh, that changes where I'm at. How interesting. Okay.
Sorry.
No, I didn't realize that would do that. Very fun to know.
Okay, that's good.
That's cool. So you hit the front door of your house and you open it to a completely sleeping house. All the kids are asleep.
Weird.
Your parents, who are in a further off room, you can hear them. They are watching the fire and on the couch, or on their little like couch together, or whatever. But next to you is the family set of armor and the lantern and the sword, like the whole thing from a long time ago when, as it was said, Grandpa was in the war. And this is the family set of armor that was passed down, and it while it's old, it's kept very up, and the sword is sharpened, and the little lantern is like on a thing, and you know that like nobody's supposed to touch it, but you also know that it has straps that could fit you, and this is the first time that in a long time that you've come in and not had to put one of your siblings to sleep. And it just seems like that moment again. It's that tree, that thing, like.
So Bramble would probably, take note of that. And since I knew we were leaving at dawn, right, I would, kind of like walk off to bed, right, noting that it was to make sure I get up early before everyone else, thinking I could grab it and sneak out.
Okay, so you're gonna go to sleep.
I'm gonna go to sleep.
Very good. Roll me a d20.
I thought I could escape that.
My favorite part of all of my campaigns is making you all try and have sleep. I love when you all go to sleep.
It's gonna go good this time.
It is.
You almost had
all
nightmares.
the time, so I don't know what the problem is.
16.
There you
16.
go.
Cool.
Almost had nightmares.
I would never make you all have nightmares.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay, so on a 16. You get a nice short rest in. It's good. You got a couple hours in you. Right at like the third hour. So now it's like 1 a.m. You get like pulled out of your sleep. And you wake up and you're sweating and you're like in your bed. Everybody else is still asleep. You can hear all the different versions of snores and talking in their sleep from 39 other creatures that live in this house. Like, you just hear like the like all these different sounds. You're in like a room full of like a bunch of these other siblings too.
Right.
And one of them is like rolled over on the floor at this point, falling out of the bed. Like, there's like just different things to show. Like, one of the pillows is like across the room when it's supposed to be like somewhere else. Just craziness, like how, you know, you sleep with a bunch of people. And there's like a spotlight of moon on you. And you would like go to look, and normally like you close the window, you know, normally, and you'd look outside the window and you'd see this line starting to overtake the moonlight even. So like it almost looks like the moon, the crescent is off because there's something taking out the light from the bottom of the moon, and you look and the little spot of darkness has grown just a little bit more as the moon passes by it.
Oh my god. I think Bramble would like rub her eyes just to make sure she was actually seeing what she's seeing. Like, she'd rub it a few times, like, look at it. No. Rub her eyes again, like, look at it.
After like the third rub, you start getting that feeling again inside of you, like that jolt, and start hearing the tree say like, I need help.
Right. There's no way she could go back to sleep. She would like tiptoe around like her siblings to try and sneak downstairs, because we need to move faster.
Give me a stealth check.
This apparently a stealth check. Oh my god. Okay.
I have so much empathy for you right now. I don't think you.
You're +3 on stealth. Let's go.
Oh,
You got a nat 1 though.
Oh no.
I gotta get that one on stealth. Wow.
Okay, so you're
So
walking.
that's four.
You're walking down the stairs. You get past your siblings. You kind of like step on one of the boards. You know how like when you're trying to be quiet at night, things are so much louder than they need to be. And
All of the above.
you don't turn on the lights. You know where things are. You're pretty good at this. You step over the one sibling that's asleep on the stairs even, and like you almost slip, but you catch yourself and you're like, okay. And you get all the way to like where the armor is.
Yep.
And you hear your mother's voice. And she's like, from another room, Bramble, why are you awake?
Bramble's like panicking, like, I had to pee? Yes. And a snack.
Roll deception with advantage.
Like,
And a snack. I like the and a snack part at the end. That's why I gave you advantage.
Alright, so that's a 15, and we'll roll it again.
You have a -1 for deception. I love this.
I do.
So a
Because I
15.
figure like she's a cleric, so she
Yeah,
wants
yeah.
to be honest. Like,
A 15. You hear,
okay.
well, make sure you get some more sleep, and I mean, don't eat too much. You know you have to wake up and make breakfast for everybody in a couple hours.
Yes, pancakes. I had not forgotten, Mother. Like,
She
it was
like,
awkward.
there's a pause, and she goes, and you hear the motherly tone as she says it, like she caught you in a lie, but it's this like thing, you know. And she goes,
Right.
You know, Bramble, I think tomorrow I'll make breakfast so you can sleep in if you need to.
Really?
Be safe tonight. And the word safe is emphasized because she kind of knows what you're doing.
Yes. Thank you. That I could definitely use the extra sleep. It's good. Hedgehogs need sleep. sleep important. Like, she's like sweating bullets. Like,
And she just says back, "You work so hard. I'm so proud of you, honey." And then you hear her little like head hit the pillow.
right? Thanks. Like, grab armor and like bolt out the door. I made it. I made it.
Okay. Flipping away from that.
Yes.
Meryl and Thistle, let's talk about you guys at the bookstore for the
Okay.
past couple hours. Go ahead. What are we looking for while we get here? Books on Madison, you said?
Yeah, I would figure books on Madison. Well, I don't know if we're gonna go by road or if we decided we were gonna go by sea. So I don't know if we would need maps of both.
So you guys are still going to Madison, is your idea?
So I kind of want to go to Madison first because in some book that Meryl might have at her place of residence or not.
Hopefully it's still in stock, yes.
Hopefully it's still in the bookstore. She remembers there being a statue garden of like great heroes. And she really wanted to go look at the statues to see if she could find, because clearly our books don't have names and they don't have information, but Madison might have updated information. I still think it's best to go to Madison first before we try and go to the forest. Because like,
No, definitely agree.
what Elias said was true. We need information. But I think
Right.
going to Madison is best, and then we will go to the forest from there. Because they have to have updated information, like, and the port is always getting in new information. When I get
Okay.
new info, I don't know what other word I'm supposed to use.
Yeah.
I guess. Okay. Roll investigation. I'll let both of you do it, or I'll let one of you give one of you help. Your choice.
Hey, Thistle, what does your investigation look like?
+3.
All right, I'll help you.
Okay. So I'll roll with advantage.
Yeah. So this is you roll with advantage, and this is you going through the books that you have, and
That's still not very good. It's a 10.
Meryl helping. It doesn't.
Could
look
Meryl?
Like... Go ahead.
Sorry, could Meryl run home to see if, because if we don't find the information here, it could be in her nest.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
So of all the books you pull up, there is no shortcut to Madison. The quickest way to get there, it looks like, is if something could like sail you there, but even then it's a good like couple week journey. The road that your town folk normally take is a like straight 2 weeks. Like if you know the road and you do the road well and you get sleep and nobody gets hurt, it takes 2 weeks. If you sail there and it is and the wind is good and all of the regular weather is great, it is a like 9-day journey, which is why sometimes the boats go. But it's no matter what, it's a 2-week stint, and then you can and then the people normally stay for like about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then they come back. And it normally takes longer to get back because when it snows, it's harder to get through stuff and blah 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 blah. Right now, no boat's gonna take you there because nobody's rowing their way to Madison at this moment in time. And there are no real teleportation circles or anything like that anybody knows of, or that you guys have any information about, period, at this point. So there's no really good way to get to Madison. Yeah. Yep. That seems reasonable. Do you want to run home and see if you can find something in a book?
I do.
Okay.
So while Thistle's looking, because that also gives her a chance to update Kronos about her day, because she doesn't do this in front of other people.
Very good.
So she'll just like talk to this imaginary time god and be like, if you were, I think you could speed up 2 weeks into like a week. I know you would have a shortcut to get us to Madison, because it would just time would just fly by. Man, time's so slow. And then she would just update about her entire day, talking to her, imaginary best friend.
Very good. Thistle. She's gonna run out the door, and she's gonna do her thing. What are you doing while she is gone?
I guess I would probably, since I didn't really see that there were any shortcuts, I guess I would start packing maps of the way, so that way we could kind of know what is on the way as we go, because I don't want us to just kind of blindly follow the road, I guess.
Okay, so there's a couple maps of, like, the different roads. Are you gonna take anything, like, else that you might have, like, information-wise of the area, or look for anything else? I want to know before I move on.
I mean, probably I would try to see if I could find anything specifically on the Madison area. I would probably try to take a few more of the weather books, just in case we run into any more weird phenomena, like, that I could make note of or look up in case something else weird happens with the weather.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Great. Fantastic. One moment.
Did anybody else feel like that was a trap? Like,
Very good.
Yes.
what else?
Okay. So
All the time. Every time they're
I know, I'm trying to think as many things as I can.
So specifically what I need then is, what would you... Okay, great. So that's that. Meryl, what are you doing at your house other than updating your imaginary friend?
She's gonna look through the books that she has in her collection. Mm-hmm. That maybe she's... Because it's videos. Oh my god. It's books from Thistle's family store, but she also might have gotten a couple of books from Elias that he's just like kind of procured for her that maybe even Thistle didn't know.
So
that's just in her collection.
What are you looking for? What information?
Okay. How much information am I allowed to look for?
I don't care. Just tell me what you're looking for.
Okay. So she would look for any sort of information about a group of adventurers that have the same makeup, maybe about if she has not necessarily like treasury books from Madison, but if she found like about whoever like some that the adventurers grab, like the bulldog. Okay. Like she's looking for
so information about the adventurers.
Information about the adventurers. She wants a map of Greyback Forest.
Okay.
So that way it's not just roads to Madison, but after they leave Madison, because Meryl fully intends for it to be a short trip there, so they can immediately go to Greyback. So she wants topographical information of that. She will also see if anything catches her eye as far as the clouds.
Okay.
And then she would like information about the Stone Garden in Madison, like maybe like sites.
Okay, so
sort
sightseeing stuff in Madison. Great. Roll investigation.
Yeah. Okay. It's a 20.
Okay. You have a well, I have a bunch of messages. Great. Oh, whatever. So there is a this, like, it's like a book of like maps of the area, and they're like little tiny like hand-drawn maps that somebody must have done. And it's a small book. Specifically, it's like, I want to say like this big. Actually, I have something that is really good for this. It's a book about this big, so it's like a handbook, and it's got little hand-drawn maps and like little like hand-drawn like pictures in like pencil, and some of the pages are even like lacquered so that the pencil would stay. It's like definitely like an explorer's type of like little hand journal, and it's a very older little tiny book, and the front of it has like this little it's like this little saucer and a like a little thing, like it almost looks like somebody like tried to like inscribe in the leather like really poorly, and you open it and it's got little maps, and the maps are pretty I'm trying to think of like how to explain this. They are hand drawn by somebody who definitely hand drew these fucking maps. Like they got little arrows, and the trees are made of like triangles with little squares at the bottom, and there are little cat paw prints all over each of the pages here and there. And on a 20, I'll allow you to very good. I wonder what minute was that at. 148. Hold on a second, I need to write some stuff down. 148.
Fingered it.
I need to cut
Yeah.
that
Sorry,
out.
I fat fingers.
No, it's okay. I just need to cut that part out. So there's the A is made of a little dog instead of so it's gray bark and has a little doggy face. But it's like a very hand-drawn doggy. And
What kind of dog is it?
just a stupid, like if I was to draw a stick figure dog.
Okay.
It's
and
important.
and there are little like paw prints here and there like that make the trails through the forest, and then they stop
Like
and it's
a
like swamps. But
procedure.
it's a decent map of Greybark Forest written by some adventurer named Kasha. And
Actually, sounds like that sounds legit. Like that's something Kasha totally did.
so
I saw a
100%.
friggin' face
Yeah.
with mine, and I went, we had the same thought. I'm like,
so
someone that Kasha did.
this whole thing, and you're looking at it, you're like, great. So I have this book of this wonderfully well adventured adventurer.
Yes,
Close
it's
it.
going in the pack.
Great. Everything else you would have found also at her shop. There's like some books on like you have like a book about Madison, but it's like a very much just a brochure type of thing, and it doesn't really say much. It just says that there is a garden of like heroes from like, but like they're like mythological heroes. Like if you were to go to a museum and like look at like stuff that like, you know, like, oh, this is Achilles and this is like, you know, that like, you know what I mean? Like the same thing here. It's supposed to be like a tourist attraction that is probably taken care of a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's like just something that Madison gets to say it has. And nothing really about adventures or anything like that. You have like fairy tale stories about stuff, but nothing like crazy.
Can I look for one more thing?
Okay.
Books about from the north, about their guild or adventures, because we haven't covered what's from the north yet, and they're also having bad harvest.
As far as like the north stuff goes, there would be some maps in the thing that in the little adventure handbook you found that by Kasha, and just, you know, little stuff that are written. There's no other thing up north. The Northern Guild is really on the other side of the continent and on the other side of the mountains. And on the other side of the mountains, there are desert. And on the other side of the desert, there is the main kingdoms. And that's kind of like where you guys are at, is on this like area over here.
Okay.
And the Adventurers Guild is written about like it is like the same way you'd write about like folklore, you know what I mean? Like Hercules stories and stuff are from the Adventurers Guild. And although you love this stuff, you also know that like Hercules probably doesn't exist but maybe it does, like you don't know, like, but like that's the idea, is like these are like very fanatical stories about this adventurers guild that like goes out and slays great tyrants and helps the world and does all this stuff, but for money. And it's so that's kind of where you're at.
Okay.
You gather up
So
everything. Do you have anything else in your house that you need to bring?
Well, she would have anything related to like spells and magic on her already. She would probably grab like a little keepsake that was like found with her when she washed up on shore.
Very cool.
She would grab her night hat and her night robes as well. Really
Cute.
just a little tiny version. And then her favorite mix of like chestnuts and pistachios and her study trail mix and her trail trail mix.
Yep.
And all the different that goes in the bag as well.
Very good.
Just in case she doesn't come back, because she could easily find herself taking a nap at the bookstore. So
Right.
she quickly she'll look at there and she looks at a plant that's kind of like dying in the window and be like, "Okay, I'll be back." Because
Great.
it's just her. It's just
Yeah.
her and this little
Little-
section that she's made by the Voles home that is in the tree.
Very cool.
And like her head doesn't grow bigger per level. Just
I mean, give it time. We're level 4.
So you skitter down and you go, and as you're going back to the bookstore, this is when you'd run into Bramble.
right,
Neat.
like arms full of armor and like trying to like waddle.
Yeah, you both
You know?
you both find each other at the, and you're like right in front of the bookstore. So now,
Right.
realistically, Thistle, if you were to look out the window or look out the door, this is all three of you meeting at this spot at like 1:20 a.m.
Right.
Wow, Bramble, that was so smart to bring the armor. That looks so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was my great grandfather's armor. I don't know. It got passed down. We're acupuncturists. I don't even know why. Anyway, yes, it looks great.
Look, it's super shiny.
It is super shiny.
They do polish it very well.
Oh my god, we're not doing
It's
this.
the shiniest armor I think I've ever seen.
I cannot believe we're doing this. Okay, great. Awesome.
Oh yes, maps by Kasha.
Exactly.
Had to give the
Exactly.
adventure.
I can't believe we're doing this. Oh. Perish the thought.
Right. It's the shiniest armor I've ever seen too. Like
It
I
has
mean,
to.
I've read books on armor, and it is by far the shiniest.
I've read those books too. We're all dying. We're all having to roll the character.
Great.
Roll for initiative.
From this moment, what are y'all doing? What is the plan?
Well, what we should do is gather up the resources that we needed. She would probably, while Bramble's putting on the armor.
I'm gonna say like Bramble would be like trying to put on the armor. Like she's never put on armor before. Trying to like
You need some assistance with that? I got you.
Yeah,
She would be showing
Look at that
Thistle.
one. We'll crack that part there.
yeah.
She'd be
Yep.
showing the book of maps.
Mm-hmm.
And she would,
Mhm.
while Thistle's busy, because she knows the bookstore like the back of her hand, Meryl would also probably try and look at information of the North and the Guild, and just as because she thought of it while she was in the store,
Mm-hmm.
just giving everything a once over to see if anything stood out to her that we didn't consider, but maybe we should look at.
Right. You can never be too careful.
You know, this is
Never-
heavier than I expected.
I mean, but it looks really good. Your little, it shapes you so well. It's like it was made for you.
Cool.
What?
Maybe something.
I think my overall question is, after all of this, are you going to sleep? Are you trying to go to Madison? Or are you trying to go to the woods?
Does the woods take us to Madison?
Not at
It's
all.
like I feel like we would be going to Madison. Like
No, not at all.
no.
I don't think it's a good idea for us to go to the woods first.
I agree. I definitely think we should go to Madison to try to get more information first.
Do we need to sleep first? What should we do?
I mean, y'all are more than welcome to spend the night here in my shop. Meryl, I know you've done that before in your
Yeah,
usual spot.
Perfectly well rested. I do. No, that's a lie. I don't really hate to rush you, but look at the moon. Right, as I was resting, I was awoken by the great tree itself, and it showed me the moon, and the little black spot looks like it's pulling the moon, the light from the moon into it. If it pulls the light from the moon, who says it's not going to pull the light from the sun, and that will kill the great tree itself? Now, with that being said, I do not want to wait any longer. I think the road to Madison is probably where we need to go, and we'll go from there. Now, where's that? Where's the barkeep guy?
You look up, and the moon is a little bit further than it was before in the night sky. But that being said, there is like this trail of like light that's being pulled and looks like it's being sucked into the forest.
Oh, so and Meryl's gonna be like, and that's going to affect the tides and the fish and the water. That's really not good. You know what? That might make Elias care. Let's go talk to him.
Okay. Let's flip to Elias. He has been helping his patrons and getting them a little bit sloshed and then listening to what they talk about. So, Elias, because we are using alcohol to our advantage here, why don't you go ahead and give me investigation or perception with advantage.
Okay.
Cool.
13.
Awesome. You're helping people, do the normal thing they do, which is they drink and they get a little, but you're adding like, you're not over pouring because God knows your bottom line, but you are giving them just, but you are giving them just a little bit extra, incentive to drink a little bit more than you normally do. So you're coaxing them a bit more.
Right.
And
they get too drunk and they have to get a room as well.
Right. And you're helping some of them, and every once in a while you hear about how like normally I don't get this drunk, but my stomach's just a little bit emptier than it normally is because of all we haven't been able to really gather up that much food like normal. And specifically I think that on a 13 you would try and listen to the foragers who do go close to the forest. Nobody really goes into Greybark Forest to do anything because there's tons of stories about how dangerous Greybark Forest is. But the woods and the entrance into Greybark Forest is where like some of the berry bushes are and some of the like other like things are, and some of the hunters go to get like different animals. And you would hear about how even the animals that people are catching are much thinner than normal or have a lot less meat on them than normal. Like they're not getting enough food. And then you finally kind of like hit gold, I guess is what you'd consider, is you're helping one of the bunnies. And the bunnies are the rabbit family they're known as like the really good hunters. They're the ones who go furthest into Greybark. They're the ones that like if somebody does go into Greybark, normally the rabbit family is the one that goes closest to there. They're the ones also who like tell the tallest stories about Greybark because they're like they want to feel like they're so cool because they're the ones who deal with like the giant like armadillo monsters and stuff that are supposed to be in this place. And but the one was saying how like even the woods seem to be much more dry than normal. There's normally supposed to be like a swamp and like it's marshy and stuff like that, but it's very dry, and they haven't really had much, there hasn't been much to catch or to gather in 3 or 4 months, and nobody's been listening to them. But it seems like at least now somebody is listening to the rabbit, because the rabbits are known to tell really tall tales. And so now, even though they've been talking for about 3 months now about how if there's not going to be enough rain, nothing's going to be able to grow, they've been talking about this since like late August. And it's almost December now. So like, you know, it's like mid-November-ish. Like this is, like I said, like it's the beginning of November, like, you know what I mean? Like this is normally when, like by now, but in August they were saying there's been no rain for a while. And if there has been rain, it's been very light. And so now this has been a really ongoing issue, like a drought that has been going on for a long time that apparently nobody's really like taken notice to, because you live near the friggin' ocean. Everything is kind of wet all the time.
Right. It's always humid. It's always damp.
Right. And you'd be helping this rabbit to sleep, and he would be like, you know, something's going on in the woods. The woods are so much darker than normal. We don't even normally go. We don't go into the woods or anything. But like, if there's no clouds, I don't see how we can't see. We have to light lanterns in the woods during the daytime sometimes. And he's just talking to you as you put him to sleep, and then he's like, anyway, and just goes to sleep. Kind of like twitches his little foot as he goes to sleep.
So he's just completely out cold?
Mumbling about it being dark and that his lantern doesn't work sometimes. Nothing crazy. You rolled a 13.
Okay.
I think that...
Yes, I am going to, one, get this sleeping drunk out of my bar.
Right. So as you're going outside to like bring...
have him moved into an upstairs room.
Right. So you're going outside to find Sophie. Or whoever your night person is. Excuse me. Not Sophie. I forgot. You gave her whatever.
Day off.
That's not going to happen.
Okay.
So you go outside to find whoever the heck is supposed to be manning the bar. And that is when you would run into the rest of the group that is now decided to talk to you.
Meryl's waving her hand.
All of your bedtime.
Elias, look at the moon.
Right.
Look at the moon.
I feel like Bramble would be a little loud right now with the armor. Like this is her first time wearing it.
Clank,
you know,
clank, clank.
she's kind of like, yeah.
Meryl's walking that way out of solidarity.
Right. Be like, Eli, we have come to collect you so that we may venture off. We need to move sooner rather than later. And she like point up to the moon. Right? This is now urgent.
You would look up and see the same thing I've been talking about, this long trail. And now you have some information about why the there's so much darkness in the woods, but you'd see this long trail of light just getting sucked up into the woods.
Is this something I would have any idea about? Is this something I would have heard about before, or is this completely new to me?
This is going to be completely new to everybody.
Right. The book people suggest we go to Madison first.
Book people.
You have to admit now, seeing the moon like this does prompt a bit more urgency.
What book did you find that mentions this, that told you to
That's
go
the thing,
straight to
we
Madison?
didn't. We didn't. But that's going to be the first place we need to go to get more information about these heroes. You have to admit something's going on. You can no longer deny it. Look at the sky.
You know what, though,
And
Eli? Why don't you give me... Yeah, give me a nature check.
Okay.
Yeah, nature over history, I think, this time.
So 19.
Okay. You have lived a decent life of doing different shit. So
Right.
I'm going to say that because you've worked hands-on with stuff. You haven't read a bunch of books about stuff. You haven't had a giant family that you have to take care of every day. You've actually gone and like had to be that worker that does the stuff in the world. You've been a smuggler, you've been a ship hand, you've probably had to grow some shit before. Like,
I've done a little bit of everything, which is why I don't want to do anything except run my bar
right.
and go to sleep.
That being said, you would know that if this is a drought and there is something happening,
Yeah.
you probably don't have time to be walking around and going to Madison and then coming back and then hoping that everything gets done before the winter. And then also, God knows, I don't think you want to walk to Madison personally.
No, I don't.
So I think you'd have this like encroaching feeling of being like, but also, I don't know how you feel about just these three going alone without you. You just kind of caught them. Not even caught them. You just found three of these people that are about to go off and be heroes, and you're just like, I'm the only one here that has any form of knowledge going outside of this town.
Literally the only person here that's been outside of the time.
So I think that that being said, I think that there would be some version of you that knows that if you are gonna go fix something, you don't have time to be going and parading around to different places. If you're gonna go fix it, you should probably go fix it.
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
And
I'll play out. I just need the choice of what we're doing, and then we will play out the next episode of you going forward with that choice. So
okay.
You all talk it out and just tell me what the plan is, please.
First thing. Brandon, you said you got a vision earlier today from the great tree.
Yes. Well, feeling. Yes. Sensation. Sure.
You communed with the great tree, whatever word you want to use.
Yes. It has granted me a request.
Is this the first time that's happened, or is this something that you've had happened before?
Oh, I mean, technically it's the first time, but the first time doesn't matter. Lots of people have firsts for lots of things. The point is that I was the one that it gave the quest to. Yes.
Okay. Second question. Meryl,
Hi.
of all the books you read, this one, I guess you too, of all the books you guys have read, can you tell me anything about Madison or the woods or the outside world around here that would help me believe that if we left here, you would not be dead within a week and I would have to come back and explain that to your parents?
Yes, I found a book of maps by someone named Kasha. And she would show the book of maps and be like, well, I did find one of Greyback Forest. And,
Can I roll history on
and
that just to see if Eli ever had experience with a Kasha map when he was a sailor?
Okay.
Yes. Ramble wants to like
Just to
nod
see
and be
whether or
like,
not I trust this map.
Yeah, go ahead. Roll,
I can
roll,
believe
roll
Meryl will be
history.
dead in a week. Yeah.
That is 21. Or is this just a completely unfamiliar name?
You've never seen this book before. Garvey talks every once in a while about this this feline love interest that he had from a long, long time ago.
Oh my god.
And when he talks about her, you always ignored it because Garvey talks like he's immortal. Garvey talks like he has been around from before time started. And he just talks. Like I said, he tells tall stories. He tells it's like knowing the father from Big Fish.
I finally got rid of him this time when he was late coming into the bar.
Right. It's like knowing the father from Big Fish. And
Right.
And Garvey talks about this wonderful woman named Kasha that was this feline that would trade stories with him, and that he met, and he thought they were having this whirlwind romance, and then she like disappeared on him one day while they were sailing when he was young. He doesn't tell a lot of stories about when he was young, is the point. And then he was very, very upset, and that's one of the reasons why he came to Coldmeadow specifically, because he wanted to go find her, but then he settled here, and that's where he met his wife years and years and years later. Oh,
Don't let Garvey know you have.
oh, I'm sorry. The one last thing. He also, the reason he like fell in love with his wife was because she could cook really well. And there was this stew that Kasha had that she always said was from one of her friends. When Rue, because Rue is his wife's name, first cooked this stew for him, it reminded him of this nostalgic moment, and then he realized how caring and how it was made with love, and that's why he like fell in love with her.
Okay.
Right.
So Meryl would be showing the map and be like, okay, Elias, new deal. If you think it's gonna take too long to go to Madison, let's go to the forest. I got a map. We should go to the forest. It sounds like fun.
It
And we'll
most certainly
save-
does not. The forgers whose whole job it is to go to the forest do not want to go to the forest right now.
Okay, but that's why we're gonna go instead. It's only
Is
gonna
there
be
any
years.
chance I can say anything to keep you guys from running into the forest and getting yourself killed?
Okay,
Probably not.
realistically, Elias, you sell a lot of different alcohols in your tavern that require grains and other resources that are going to very clearly be in short supply. So realistically, I think in about a month, this is going to start affecting your business. So
I have considered that.
you
And-
should want to help us bring the grain back.
And don't lump me in with Meryl. Surely I would survive. I don't,
Does your father know you have that armor?
I,
Exactly. Okay.
We need to learn about like having each other's backs. I have your back. You need to start having my back. This thing that we work on together
Now,
and put that on the way to
you
the
make a
forest.
very good point. This will start affecting my business, which is why I do agree with you that something needs to be done.
Great.
I don't necessarily agree, however, that the three of you need to come along.
my father does not
That
not
is
know
what
I
you're
have
convincing me of right now.
That's why the four of us should go. 4 is better than 3. It's a larger
Four.
number.
I
Right,
can go
I have
with
to
a
go.
collection
Again,
of
the divine
foragers
tree.
and sailors, people who all have experience, and we can go and come back and let you know what we find. We'll bring you souvenirs and tons of accurate stories.
You just said all the forgers went and they weren't sure what was going on either.
Wait, what
I
kind
think
of
they don't-
food?
Taking them again.
I said they don't want to go to the forest right now because they can already tell things are changing. But who would be better for me to take? Someone that goes there on the regular, that knows what to look
Or
for?
a fresh set of eyes who would see something completely different than what they would see.
Can we just ask what kind of souvenirs they were? I just want to know. Like,
He did say souvenirs.
he did say souvenirs.
But it'd be so much better if we brought those souvenirs back for ourselves, and that means that we get a bigger portion of those souvenirs, and then we will come back to the town heroes.
hero to the divine tree.
Elias!
Great.
Imagine how much more you will sell when you can put hero on the top of your tavern.
I don't want to be a hero. Heroes end up dead. You've read enough stories to know that.
No, they're in my stories. People have to know to
always
tell
happily
stories.
ever after. That's how the stories go.
Yeah. He kissed the frog, he get the
You were
prince.
specifically asking to go look for, to follow a path that the last set of heroes, and he's going to throw air quotes with that, never came back from.
Again, protection with the divine tree. That's why we're going on this entire thing. They probably didn't have that same protection.
So when we leave, how are you going to feel if you don't with us?
We're gonna have to step over Meryl's dead body and oh right, sorry. We're supposed to be on the same side. My fault. So
It's okay, you're learning. I understand.
we're working on it, right? Yeah, how would you feel if we all left you behind, right? Then you would feel guilty because we're off having an adventure, right? I don't know about the fun part, right? But Meryl says it'll be fun. See, supportive.
Supportive.
There you go.
Appreciate it.
Well, you got part of that right. I would feel guilty if you left, not because you're out having a fun adventure, but because you're probably not coming back from that fun adventure, and I would be the last person to see you, and your parents would blame me.
Okay,
Whatever
then.
works. Again, divine protection. I can't speak for the rest of you, but I guess I could share
Divine
it.
protection, armor protection, and you could give us knowledge that we don't have. If you don't want us to go by ourselves, blind and whatnot, you can help us.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can name the party.
You're gonna see me put my hand up, and Mage Hand is just gonna bring a little, like, bundle over to me, like I was already prepared to leave.
So
Not
you knew
because I want you guys to go. I have already left letters to go to all of your families. If we're going to do this,
Hey,
it
that was
will
a
be
great
done the right
idea.
way.
So 2 whole letters.
So
Got
2
it.
whole letters.
Meryl, I wrote a letter to the Voles for you.
Oh, okay.
Aw.
That's fair.
That's a great
Okay.
idea.
Next, so I guess this is where we'll end. Next time we will strike out on the great journey into Greybark Forest.
Into the forest.
This has been session 0. Everybody, I hope you all enjoyed the beginning of a story that I'm hoping to tell over the course of however long this takes. I have no plans to make this end soon.
I'm too old for this shit.
I hope that everybody enjoys it. I know that we have some inside jokes going on here that I'm sure that if you want to tweet at us at the Twitter below, I can have everybody tell you tons of stories about Kasha. I'm sure Kasha will be here to yell at me later. But thank you guys so much. I hope that everybody enjoys this. I love all of you. I love everybody for playing with me. I hope that everybody enjoys the story. And this is just the first of many. Have a good day.